Back again with another episode. The pals had a good pal in the studio. Our dear friend Mark Halkias, the man, the myth, the legend. Most of our friends know Mark. Great guy, deep thinker. We had a really good conversation. Just talked all things Toronto, food, drink, community related, some obscure sports. We just we dug into it. It was good. Talk a little about the East End, which we don't often do. Ricky and I don't venture out that way very often.
No, West End till I die.
Yeah. We stop at Yonge Street typically, but Mark's a great guy, a longtime friend. Mark, thank you for the great conversation, guys. He's a fantastic storyteller too. So if you got some time, listen to this at the end. It's really interesting. Rick, you want to give out some shout outs to our homies?
Yeah, I want to give a couple quick shout outs. First, to our sponsor, Kind Magazine, one of the fastest growing print and digital magazines in North America. Their newest edition is actually releasing today, featuring Matty, Matheson, and also featuring your pals, Georgie and I.
Today is February 4th, by the way. December.
Good one, Georgie.
I said it because December. So it's dropping Friday, December 4th. So if you're listening to this before or later, December 4th.
Yeah, it's out now. Go check it out at your local dispensary or online. Also like to give a shout out to our sponsors, Tight Knit Clothing. Some great clothing and available merch for Christmas. Some great gear. They got sweaters, t-shirts, hats, bomber jackets, everything. It's important to support local, so make sure you check them out at tightknitclothing.com. And Georgie,
LFG, my pal.
Let's go.
All right. Okay. God, don't say it yet. I was going to say it for the episode. Long overdue. The man, the myth, the legend in the studio.
We spoke about this. I think you were like in India or something. We used to have these calls when George was traveling, and we would have these 1 hour, 2-hour calls. Is that better?
Yeah, it's better.
I'm not so good with the microphone. But yeah, we used to have these calls, and George and I we'd exchange ideas and different books we were reading and all this stuff. And then we kind of spoke about a podcast.
I
think this is actually my idea, and you guys took it. So
I actually
want a percentage of royalties.
Credit given.
Yeah.
Well, you even said you wanted to do a podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple months ago you were thinking about it.
Maybe.
You really should have one, Mark. Your thoughts need to be out there.
What was it going to be about?
So. I don't know. I thought about a few things. People in the service industry really fascinate me. So, people who open up these small dive bars, dive bars have such eccentric personality because it's an extension of the person who's running it.
Yeah.
And I remember this place, Bill Hicks. I think you might have been there with me.
Who's Bill Hicks? Sorry.
So Bill Hicks is a comedian, but it used to be this dive bar in Leslieville.
Get him on the pod.
Oh, he's
dead.
dead.
He's dead. If you could get him here,
Bill Hicks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, wait,
awkward.
Isn't there a theory?
You couldn't say, he was.
No, never mind. I don't know what happened. But sorry, just so you know, Bill Hicks was Queen East.
It was basically Queen and Carlaw, and there was this tiny red light bulb that was screwed to a fixture, and it looked broken.
It was really cool,
and it was the door was black, so walking by you wouldn't even notice this place. And you would go up there, and they had these strip lights lining the stairs, and you'd go up. The walls were covered with vinyl covers, and then the ceiling was covered with vinyl records. And it was this tiki dive bar. You maybe had room for about, I don't know, maybe 15 people in there.
Is that tiki bar you went to a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
No. Mine, Shameful Tiki. That's the West End.
Oh, okay.
We went, no? No.
I don't think so.
You know what's funny, actually? You know what?
Right,
I actually remember.
Good date ideas right now.
Rick, the idea, you remember when I don't know if we had this idea, we just got lucky with this TV, but they had a blown out TV in the back of the bar at Bill Hicks.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the coolest bars. So we did a night in the East End when you first moved down there. It was around the time when I moved down downtown as well on King Street.
Yeah.
We basically moved to the opposite ends of the city. So Mark would come to the West End.
I got George to cross Yonge Street for the first time in his life.
Sorry, how did you guys meet, by the way? Do I know this?
No, but we met, honestly, we met the most traditional Greek way you probably could meet. Our dads knew each other.
Hey, Mark, are you
and
Greek?
they worked the same.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't grow a mustache, so that's part of the problem. Maybe.
Low facial. He's not very hairy, so he doesn't come off as Greek. Yeah, we met because our dads work in the same industry in the service business, different sides of the business, and then
It was like matchmaking, basically. It's like, I want you to meet my. Like,
yeah,
you know,
honestly,
like,
you guys are nice Greek boys.
yeah,
Come hang out.
you should know
be
each other. You
friends.
know.
So it was actually the first we met like the year that I finished university. It was like the first trade show in Toronto. I remember we were at Jack Astor's after the conference.
Yeah.
And like our dads are talking. I was like, "Oh, you're Greek? Me too." Like we just started shooting the shit.
Now, do you remember the most critical part of that meeting?
No.
It was the thing that you had growing on your upper lip.
Oh, November.
Yeah, it was the most ridiculous mustache I'd ever seen until I tried growing one, and then
So
that was ridiculous.
You know what's crazy then? I forgot about that. The conference is always the end of November, which means that we met about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So it would have been probably last
Happy
week.
anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
I'm
Wow,
glad I
look
could
at
I'm
this.
glad I could share it with you boys.
Yeah. You're welcome to. You're
I'm part of the squad.
Jumping back, one thing about Bill Hicks is what we were saying when we moved downtown, we would like do nights. So Mark would say, "Okay, come to the East End," and he would like discover his neighborhood and show me parts of the East End.
Mark, sorry, where in the East End are you from? Or did you move?
No, I moved into Leslieville like 6 or 7 years ago.
Near my
Yeah.
brothers,
Yeah,
kind of thing
yeah.
in that area. But Bill Hicks was cool. The first time we went, we did like Bill Hicks Boxcar Social. We went
Boxcar
to.
Social's nice. Never
Yeah.
been, but I heard really good things about
Is
it.
that the original one?
I
you know?
don't know.
But
I don't think so.
It was so cool
I could
because
be
Mark
wrong.
would take me to these places. We'd walk in. You know, like when you go to a bar, like when we'd go out and when you were promoting, like you kind of know people, so it's cool. The East End was like similar but different because Mark would go and like we'd walk in and they'd be like, "Oh, hey, Mark," and I'm like, "How do you know these people?" He's like, "Well, I don't know. We just talk." So they'd be like the usual. Like it was a very like. It's a
a good
community
feeling.
feel. It's
Yeah.
very different.
Yeah, well, and it's like what I found about places in the East End is there's like this community. So like you'll walk around. I'll be at like at Gerrard Square buying some paper towel or something, and I'll bump into one of the owners of the restaurant. Pinkerton Snack Bar
That
is
one, yeah.
another like and
Shout
what-
out to Pinkertons.
What they've done at they call it Jerome's because Gerrard and Jones area. What
Oh,
they've
I
done
didn't know
there
that.
with Pinkerton, with the Vatican gift shop,
Same owners?
with Poor Romeo, and then they opened another one, Gardel. Which is like a Spanish tapas thing. So it's like I'll go out, I'll be like, picking up a bottle of wine from the LCBO, and I'll see Mark there pushing a cart, and he's loading up for the weekend, and everyone kind of lives in the neighborhood, and there's
Like live and work, which is
yeah,
cool.
exactly. So it's not like I think downtown you got a lot of people that work at the bars and the club, and then they go to somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like East End, there's a community there, so it's like you just get to know people, and you're having a drink, you have a chat. Like the owner of Bill Hicks lived in my older brother's building. My older brother lives across the street from me.
I didn't
Lived
know.
in my older brother's building, which ironically is where
Shout out to Christian.
and
Shout out to Jay too.
well, and shout out to Yanni.
Shout out to
'cause
Yanni.
lives in the building.
Fucking
Shout out to John too.
No, shout out to John. Our brothers my brother lives in the same. They're next door neighbors. All of them.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're on the
They're
same
him and
floor. They're like they're like
So
a few
I'm
doors down.
literally, I go, so the gym I train at, shout out Primal Gym actually. And
Justin.
actually really big shout out to them because they're doing outdoor training. So COVID,
Sorry to interrupt. Do you know Primal Gym? It's across the street from you.
right across the street, Carlisle and Dundas. Right on the northwest corner.
Yeah. I you wouldn't find me in there. 'Cause
Yeah, no, but do you know what?
I
A
know-
lot like, and I actually want to take just a hot moment to talk about this because
Hit it.
so many gyms are being absolutely destroyed, restaurants, everything. They literally they're allowed, I think, 4 parking spots. They turned their 4 parking spots. They took a little bit more space, and they created like a social distance outdoor gym. They have like the gear and the mats and tents and the whole setup, and they've been selling out classes every single day, even till into now. So they've got 10 mats. Each class is allowed 10 people because that's what you're legally allowed to do for outdoor gatherings, 10 people. And they run classes and they're slammed and it's high energy and it's outdoor. And some days it's freezing. But big shout out to those guys, Justin, Tommy.
Yeah.
Shout out you guys because that's amazing. One of the only gyms that's really doing this right now. So I just back to you
Yeah,
guys.
no, good
Sorry.
for them, man.
Shout out to all the brothers.
yeah, everyone. And,
John too.
But,
John too.
But that's kind of the appeal of Leslieville. It's there's a lot going on, but it's kind of hush hush, and there's this community that's formed there, and.
What other neighborhood would you compare to? Would it be kind of like a Liberty
Nothing.
Village?
I don't think. No.
Nothing.
I don't think. I
It's
like.
hard. I haven't seen much. I was thinking one day maybe like Parkdale, but even that is kind of different. Like
It's just its
an
own
interesting
thing.
The most interesting thing with the East End, like for me, and we've talked about this with Ricky too. Like for myself, at least speaking, it's far for me to get to work. I know my brother does it, but I just find it like most of what I do. So I moved out to like the Mimico area, but it's one area I do really like and respect because of that live and work and the community feel. But the interesting thing is it has not changed a lot in the way like most neighborhoods just naturally, I think gentrifies the term. Like, and like you've been there for how long? 5-6 years?
Yes, maybe 7 years now.
It's changed a bit. Like
it has. Like you're getting development in there, but like most of the condos are low or mid rise, and they're just a beer store. They're basically selling off all their locations and turning them into condos. But the one that they're putting up on
is that an actual thing? Beer stores are selling off all their locations.
They're doing that a lot because
they have a lot of prime downtown locations.
Yeah, but. So it's interesting because you don't get these like mega towers that are like 50 stories tall. You're seeing a little bit more of that at like Queen and Broadview, I guess.
Yep.
But other parts of the neighborhood, there are these infill projects that go up like 10 or 12 stories. So it's not this giant monstrosity, and you've got good transit and roads and all of that type of stuff. So it's not like Liberty Village because Liberty Village is a disaster to get into and out of. It's like one way in, one way out, and tons of construction.
There's literally 3 entrances to Liberty. How crazy!
Which is crazy as a soccer stadium,
and they have like the tallest buildings in the city.
There's
you know what I mean?
3 entrances to Liberty by car.
Yeah,
you have
and they're like 2 lanes, like 1 lane each way in.
Yeah, you have Dufferin entrance. You have the one off King.
Yep.
Near what's the burger place?
Burger Drops.
Yeah, near Burger
Shout
Drops.
out to our boys.
And then there's the Strawn
a good plug.
entrance. There's 3 entrances to a place where 50,000 people live?
Tons of people, yeah.
It's insane.
How many people do you think live in Liberty? 50,000, give or take?
A lot, man, a lot. And they keep building condos.
They're still
like
building.
Garrison Point, I think, is the new one that just got built.
Yeah, we're doing
some
work
nice
there.
Yeah. Shout out Metric. Big Frank. Yeah, but I do really like the East End. I went on a run through the East End.
I'm really enjoying this East End talk. I know nothing about the East End.
I didn't expect this conversation to start here.
I'm like a huge advocate.
Mark, see what I mean? Mark just creeps the conversation. I didn't expect us to talk about this.
Is this what you were going to hit us with at the beginning?
No, I actually had something else.
Okay, so we'll hold that.
Yeah.
What's your favorite spot in the East End? Actually, let me rephrase that question. What's your favorite spot with the boys, and what's your favorite date spot?
Put him with the day spot, eh?
Day spot.
Rick's looking for new date ideas.
Man, I legit, I don't know anything about the East End.
It's really nice.
So my previous partner, her sister lived in the East End, Broadview and Queen area.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. We went to that one spot that one time.
Where?
Gladstone? No.
What's the hotel? Broadview Hotel.
Broadview Hotel.
So with our moms there.
And then I went with Bex for her sister's birthday. We did some like vegan little like garden restaurant. They make all their own food, and it was like kind of weird but hippie, but it was kind of cool.
Yeah, like, and there's tons of stuff too. Like what's crazy in that
make their own food.
Of course they make their own food. No, they grow their own food.
We got it.
So okay,
but like East End as well. Like the thing that's crazy.
Don't dodge my question, by the way.
Oh yeah, I'm just
saw
like
the dodge.
Yeah, I'm just like
you
can't give out all the secrets, man.
You can refrain if you want to.
Yeah,
refrain.
No.
Some girls gonna listen and be like, "What the fuck, Mark?
We never took me there." And but I think Pinkerton. I've always had really fond memories of that place. I think I went like the first week it opened.
What's the vibe like?
It's good. It's kind of like low key, a little dim. Their decor's really cool. It's I want to say it's kind of divey, but not really.
Yeah.
And the food there is so good. Like
416 snack bar, but a little less, like not as dark, a little longer.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. And if you can get the table up in the back that's like almost in the kitchen, that's a cool. Sick spot if you can get it.
It's called Pinkerton's.
Pinkerton Snack Bar.
Exactly how it's pronounced?
Yeah. And
shout out Pinkerton's.
Honestly.
And
great
so
spot.
like I just like that's my favorite restaurant in the East End. My favorite restaurant in the West End would probably be like Beast.
I've never been. Beast. It's right on the corner here.
But it's like what is really cool about both of those restaurants is they do these smaller plates.
Yeah.
But they execute on them so well. And so you can pick anything on the menu at Pinkerton's and try it. And you're like, oh my gosh, this.
Yeah.
And they do
Reasonably
some really
priced.
cool like things. So they do like I think it's a pork neck pancake. And so
Is it open all day?
It's generally open in the evenings, but it's like I think
Pancake. Well, that's like a brunch thing, no?
That's like a twist.
It's like a
What's the
fusion dish.
What's
I
the
guess.
chicken wing we have?
The Fausto's chicken is a really good fried chicken, and it's got some, I guess maybe it's Asian inspired.
Yeah, so it was like a fusion
little,
or something.
Yeah, a little hot, but
Yeah.
like I would say like Beast is kind of like that in the in I guess
This
King,
West
King
End,
West area. Yeah,
I've never been actually. Shout out to Mike Lutner. Have we ever given Mike Lutner a shout out? He lived across the street from Beast, and we used to go to eat.
Shout out, Mikey.
We lived down the street from each other. We never ate at Beast. Mike, miss you, buddy.
You guys, you missed out because it's still around. I hope. But
I walked by it
but
actually like a couple weeks ago.
just
never
to
know,
go
it
in and
might
have
not
that
make it,
have
right?
that whole dining experience, and I remember having. And I think the menu at Beast changes like pretty frequently.
Yeah.
But they did.
I love places that do that, by the way.
Yeah, they did like
change every
kimchi
season.
pork hawks.
Yeah, they'll keep their standard dishes and then each.
But they did like kimchi pork hawks, which is like pork hawks are traditionally German, but kimchi is Korean, so they
Pork,
mix
like
them
pork
together.
hog, pork knuckle type thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
So, but it's like
It's a
anyway,
bad day to skip my dinner.
I'm starving. I haven't
Yeah.
eaten yet.
We'll order some takeout after.
We should. So do you know where Pinkerton's?
No, I have no
okay,
idea.
so you know the East End. If you go towards like Gerrard,
I know.
You know the Home Depot.
I know where the East
You know
End is.
Gerrard Square. You know the Home Depot and McDonald's, Gerrard Square.
No.
I didn't even know that was there, but it's literally next to
Okay,
that.
so give
where
me
your
like,
gym, where Primal is?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, go to Gerrard.
So
The
Gerrard,
next light's where the bridge
east
is.
or west?
Gerard, you go
North-
north.
if I'm
you
going
go
north on-
up Carlaw,
Yeah.
and then take a right onto
East on
Gerard. And there, you have
right.
the
So Gerrard
overpass
goes
where
east
the
and
go.
west?
Yes.
Yeah, so you got the overpass where like the GO train comes
Yeah,
over.
okay, I
You
know
could
that.
drive
A lot of good
under
spots.
that and go east. And like the thing is when Pinkerton opened, it was kind of the first restaurant in that strip. You have a lot of these like older businesses,
Storefronts.
not like storefronts, not really much going on. And then that opened up, and then I think now they have a La Cubana, which is kind of an Ossington thing.
Yeah.
So when I first went there, and I think they definitely saw it a lot sooner than I did. I'm like, oh, as this continues to develop, this is going to be like the Ossington of the East, and they've had other places that have opened up. Yard Sale is like a, I guess.
Sorry, what street is this? Is the Austin?
all
Gerard and
okay.
Jones. That's the Jeroens is what they call the neighborhood.
Drones.
But like so they have all these cool like restaurants and bars that have opened up, and it's been great. And that doesn't even touch on some of the really good spots that were that are on Queen Street. There used to be this place that closed down I think about a month ago. I'll be seeing you. I think me and you
Well, that's
might.
a great name.
Yeah. And they would have it was like this pink neon cursive sign.
It's exactly what I would think it would be.
And it was
Big
it,
sign
it
guy.
was it
Big
was
sign guy.
Huge.
Shout out Anth, big sign guy. Anthracharity, love you.
but it was run by these two sisters, really awesome chicks, Vanessa and Natasha, and they ran a really good bar. It was always a good vibe when you went in there, and I think unfortunately with everything that's happened, we lost a lot of really good businesses over the past few months.
I love how he says we.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's his community.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. So to that point of Pinkertons, I remember the first time we went, we did like we started at Mark's Corner, we walked west along Queen, and then at the end of the night he's like, "You hungry?" I was like, "Yeah." So we decided to go. He's like, "We're going to
projecting.
Pinkertons," and I was like, "What the hell is Pinkertons?" So we basically take a taxi or Uber,
This is
whatever.
a couple years ago.
Yeah, like 4 years ago. We like 2015 probably around then. We taxi up towards like the Home Depot, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, what is out here? There's like, it's like you picture just like desolate East End, and we get out there and like and it's packed. And every time I would be in that area, it's like a little block, and it's always busy. So it's kind of like Osden, but the difference is like Osden is a whole street that's busy. These guys opened the restaurant, or like a few of them, where there was really nothing. So like that's the thing, though. You get the loyalty of the community. That's like, oh, it's a good spot. I'm gonna go, even if it's out of my way. I'm gonna go to support people because they open up something in their community, which is interesting because. And again, it might be a generalization, but you see places in the West End open up, and it might be a good. Like I've been to some that have good food, but it's kind of out of the way, not a lot of foot traffic, and it's kind of gone after a couple years. And it's like people kind of don't want to venture; they stay in the busy area because it's a little more convenient. Whereas it seems like in the East End, like even Boxcar Social, it's not on the main street; it's off to the side.
Yeah.
And at night you walk by, you think it's closed. We went in; it was pitch black. I was like, "Mark, this place is not open." He's like, "Don't worry, I know them." We walked in, and it's just us two having a drink.
And there's like this sense of discovery when you're going through, you know, these parts of the neighborhood. And I think there's also a little bit of, you know, loyalty, or, you know, like when you bump into, you know, the restaurant owner when you're out just doing your groceries or whatever, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna support that guy because he's a regular human guy getting on with life, doing his thing, and not some big chain corporation that, you know, is just selling chicken fingers or whatever. So
honestly, I really like it out there.
I kind of knew, because George always, I feel, had this hesitation to go too far east, because he was living his King West life back in those days.
I'm cultured. I go all over the city.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, if we're gonna drag him out to the East End, it needs to be a good spot. It needs to be a good night. It was honestly, and I think that changed. I think that might have changed your mind a little bit.
Well, we did it another time after that. We did the brewery, like pub crawl,
brewery tour.
We've done a lot of. Also, for everyone listening, we don't just go out and drink. We've gone to like dinners and like we went to Prohibition.
We do have food.
We do have some normal food nights, but the brewery tour was cool because there's like 7 breweries in the East End.
There's like it's a pretty.
How big are they? Like just like small.
They're all like you know, local microbreweries, or maybe they're, I don't know what the classification is, but they're smaller guys. Small. It's like
kind of like Maverick was in the West End. If you guys know what Maverick.
Yeah. But you've got like left field. Left field has a really cool spot, and they're a baseball theme.
And they're not even paying us for these shout outs, guys.
Yeah. Left Field Brewery is the first one we went to. It literally feels so like they have like an old antique type scoreboard, I believe.
Yeah.
And they post like the scores, like so you be watching like if the Jays play, they'll like have a scoreboard flipping as the score goes.
Like a person goes and manually flips.
I don't know. I think it might be just for decoration.
But you feel like you're at a ballpark, and it's in a back alley. I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah, and they've got like all their beers are like baseball themed. So if you like look up any of the names of their beers, and I'm not a big baseball guy, but I'm like
third base.
I think one of them's Go Ahead or Laser Show and things like this. So these are like baseball terminology that they've kind of factored in. You've got Godspeed, which is like, I guess it's Japanese inspired, so they have a lot of Japanese ingredients. You know, there's a green tea beer that they do, and you know,
a green tea beer like?
So it's pretty
Mark's
good.
Obviously had it.
Yeah, but there's like, you have all of these. There's probably like you know, probably 8 or 9 breweries. You go down, there's Radical Road, Rorschach is pretty cool.
Rorschach's cool.
Then you've got Black Lab.
What's the one on Queen? Is it Rorschach's on Queen?
No, Rorschach.
It has the big front, like the
Rorschach is on Eastern, and I think
we ran by one of the ones when we were doing our
Radical
marathon. Road
is on Queen.
That's the one I think we went by.
You have Eastbound, which is on Queen. That's at Queen and Broadview. Salter Street is a cool one because it's like it's tucked away in the back. So you're like, talk about date spots. You're walking down. You're like, hey, let me take you to a brewery, and then you walk down this dark alley. And it's like,
what's that one called? Do not go there.
But then,
first date, absolutely not.
It's a good callback. I like you brought that one back there. Eh?
But then the. Like the alleyway opens up and they've got this patio and it's a really cool spot, kind of quaint, tucked in. And then if you cross the bridge a little bit further, you've got Long Slice Brewery. They've opened a place in the Canary District called the Aviary, so it's like a brew pub.
I think we went there for
yeah. And those guys do really good beer.
Burgers are good.
The burgers are good. Smash burgers are great, and like the 2 brothers that do the brewing, and I guess it's there's three guys, I think, Sebastian, Jimmy, and John, and like they're great guys. Like those are the type of guys that like, I wish I had them as my friends, like on my Rolodex. Like, hey, I want to hang out with you guys because you're just cool, you know. And you make beer, so like, you know, it's perfect, you know. So there's like that. There's this whole pocket, and everyone seems to be really supportive, and you know, and they look out for each other, and they, you know, and you saw that with a lot of the restaurants. They're sourcing, you know, their beers from left field and things like that. Oh, I forgot Aveling as well. That's a brewery opened up. They've got a rooftop patio or a rooftop garden where they grow all their ingredients, and they put that into their food. So
I want to ask, what's your favorite patio in the East End?
A favorite patio.
While you're thinking of that, the only hard thing that sucks is like, talking about this is like, you think about this and like it's winter now and stuff, so people don't go out in general as much, but like didn't get to experience that.
No, December's normally a good month. For the
I'm saying
hospitality
like
industry,
when we
yeah.
used to do these like like beer tours or even going for dinner and all that stuff. Like, man,
you
the
know
good old days.
Yeah, favorite
Mask? What was a mask?
favorite patio. I don't know. There's too many good ones. There's like most of the places on Queen Street usually have a good patio because it's a building that like was probably intended for residential, but then they've converted it into a restaurant or whatever. And so you just go out and they've got some. Yeah, there's too many to name. It's a good question, but it's impossible to answer.
You know, it's funny. It's kind of like my being kind of like naive when I was younger. So Danforth is obviously like when I was young, being from the West End, I didn't realize like where Danforth is in relation to the city. I just knew like Danforth, but you don't realize it's really just an extension off Bloor, like Yorkville, and like this area is down just south of it. So I remember the first time I went out there, we were out. I think we ended up on Danforth at maybe like some place or something. And I didn't realize like how much there's this community behind there. Like when I grew up, I just thought everything behind Danforth was like lake or beaches or like nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, just Greektown exists, nothing else. But it's because I would go like my dentist was
Classic
there.
Greek.
No,
Yeah.
but because I was
Nothing
so,
else matters.
Yeah, Danforth is the center of the
I thought
universe.
nothing existed there because I just assumed Danforth was in the middle of nowhere. That was so far east to me as a kid. I grew up in Mississauga. Like I would go to Scarborough, but again, like you just jump off the DVP and there's a thing. And it's very interesting because even now, like honestly, I find Danforth has been pretty cool. Like there's some bars opening up there, restaurants, just that whole East End. I mean, I like
Danforth.
it a lot.
Danforth is changing. Like there's. I think you're starting to see some vacancy, but
I
you know
noticed that
that's
recently.
kind of the nature of kind of any neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not necessarily like a purely Greek neighborhood anymore.
No.
So you're getting other types of restaurants and things in there, and I think that's fine because. And I wasn't around for this, but Greektown didn't always used to be on the Danforth.
Really?
Right? Yeah, Greektown used to be like elsewhere in the city. I want to say like I don't even know, but I
didn't know
like
that.
years and
Neither
years
did I,
ago.
yeah.
That's not where Greektown was.
We
And
got
so-
sent out. They're like, we want these guys, get them off
Yeah,
to the
like,
outskirts.
yeah.
Put them in the east.
The only thing I don't venture to Danforth too often, but just for Danforth Music Hall when they have good shows out there.
Oh, that's a great venue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Never been.
honestly is, and I just know I don't go because it's so far. Even from
Oh, yeah?
downtown, I still think it's far.
Didn't you go to one like last year or something?
I saw
Or-
Rufus the Soul
Rufus.
there, which was sick. Went by myself, had a blast. I saw Dennis Lloyd there, I think.
Oh, sick. Is that the guy who wore the Toronto jersey or something you said?
Yeah, and he wore it for like a week straight after someone gave it to him. It was so sick.
I ended up seeing Great Lakes Swimmers at the Danforth Music
I
Hall.
assume those are not swimmers, they're a band.
It's a band. Yeah.
Astute observation, George.
Thank you, Ricky.
Yeah, no, it's these guys in a pool and they're just swimming.
They just like
for
swimming
our
a lot. Then you go
entertainment.
watch them
Yeah,
on a screen. They're swimming in Lake Ontario.
live
live stream.
But the acoustics in that place just went so well with that style of music, and yeah, Danforth is a great venue. Love going there.
You've been to a lot of like, I don't know if you know this. So Mark is big. You're big into like and metal.
You can
concerts,
say it. You can say
Screamo,
it. Yeah.
metal concerts,
Metal, hardcore. Yeah.
So you've been to some venues that typically are like, I guess what, more like divey type venues.
Grungy.
Yeah, like Hard Luck's. It's I've seen a few shows there. There was this band Let Live played, and Let Live is a band I think they're from California, and their lead singer is like crazy. If you see him at any festivals, this guy is climbing like 60 feet in the air on top of and he'll be performing like from the top of there. His mic cable is like a kilometer long, I think.
Kilometer long.
They don't have wireless, eh?
No.
They go old school.
So, and I've seen them play a few times, but I remember at Hard Luck, this guy was getting like the crowd was like throwing him up, and he was like smashing through the ceiling, and then other people were smashing through the ceiling, so like the whole ceiling's basically caving in, and then they're like, and then he gets on the mic, he's like, all right guys, we got to stop destroying the ceiling, or they're gonna stop the show, and we're like, all right, no one's gonna destroy the ceiling anymore. Half of it's like on the ground, but so yeah, and I was thinking about that today because I suspected that you might bring up my metal proclivity.
I honestly had no intention of doing it, but we're talking about concerts. So
Yeah.
I'm still waiting to see what you were going to hit us with at the beginning.
I want to get to that
Yeah,
next.
yeah.
Like,
But I was thinking
little
about this,
segue.
and it's like I'm not like a super massive guy, and so you go to some of these shows, and they got circle pits and walls of death and all this crazy stuff, and I've only like been in a mosh pit or a circle pit a couple of times because usually you got guys in there that are just bruisers. And like they just crush people. And now the crazy thing about it is like that, as aggressive as the music is, it's such a supportive like community. So when someone's in a circle pit, if they see someone go down, people will stop and pick that person up, and that is the that's the norm, that's the expectation. And so it's like you might be in the middle of a pit, and like from the outside looking in, it looks absolutely crazy. But you go in there, and it's like I've only been in a pit a few times, but every time I've been in there, despite the fact there's flailing arms and people getting crushed, it's like it's actually a pretty safe place to be because people inside the pit, it makes no sense when you say it out loud.
I'm laughing because you should take Rick to one of these shows and give him some mosh pit. Maybe not Rick per se because it wasn't really you, but Rick needs some mosh pit 101 lessons. Because
I don't even know how to. I just
Mark,
I just try to
Mark,
like.
have you ever heard
teeth.
my story from Switzerland?
No, please
from
tell.
Zurich,
So we're a couple pops deep, and we're having a good time.
open air festival.
Yeah.
in
So I think it was
Zurich.
like Dylan Francis or someone.
Yeah, like it's not a big festival, but like Mumford and Sons headline.
Yeah, but the show
Kygo.
the DJ
we were
seeing was
watching
like-
someone like Dylan
Not
Francis.
a hardcore show.
Like electronic,
it was,
no,
like
like
a hardcore
yeah.
electronic, right? So whatever, there's like this big mosh pit, and I'm like tarps off in there, and I'm like controlling this thing. I'm bouncing off walls, tossing people left, tossing people
He
right.
basically looks at me. I'm going in. I was like, don't go in, man.
Going in.
I'm going.
Yeah, hold on to my stuff.
I think I have a video of this.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I'm
was
going
like
in.
running the mosh pit at this point. I'm in like just this is my mosh.
The captain of the mosh pit.
Pit. Yeah, I was like the captain, and the guy had a pinata. So, and he was like walking kind of like into the mosh pit. So I was like, oh man, I got it. So I grabbed the pinata and I went to put it on the floor so we could all like mosh pit with this pinata kind of thing. In my head, it was a great idea at the time. Looking back, terrible idea. So we're all like kind of about to mosh pit. I put the pinata on the floor. Some other kid goes to kick it, but in kicking the pinata, his shin swiped my nose like clean. Like just shin right across my nose.
Nurse doesn't have a small nose.
You were still down.
I'm like
you were
bending
placing
over,
it. So you're like the
placing
place
the
kicker.
Yeah,
and then he
basically.
kicked you in the face.
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
basically. So I instantly got up, and I'm tarpless, like again, sweating, drunk, blood all over, like just instant blood gushing
Yeah.
ever. So I
You
get
have
up,
freedom.
yeah, I get up and I just look straight. I'm like, you kicked me. He's like, no, yeah, boom, punch this guy in the face. And I've never fully punched somebody.
I don't
in
think
the
you punch you in the face or like the shoulder.
No,
or
I
something.
punched this guy in the face
Oh,
because he
shit.
starts to like buckle down, and then his buddy looks at me and he's like, no, it wasn't him. I'm like, it was fucking you. Boom, punch this kid, and then I'm like, all right. Where's George? I gotta go find George. I don't know where. So I go see George. He's like, man, what happened? I'm like, long story short, got kicked in the face. Guy tried to hit a pinata. Mosh pit. It was nuts. And
And then I had to try to realign his nose. I never done that before. Didn't do it right.
That's basically like every hardcore show.
Yeah.
Somebody
it was
always
nuts.
gets hit in the face, like, and depending on what band you're going to see, you're like, okay, there's gonna be chiclets on the floor tonight. Like,
Come on.
for sure.
You know what? I'm happy as my nose instead of my teeth.
Yeah, that's
And all,
why
like,
I
as
stay
weird as
out.
that is,
That's why I
like,
stay out of the pit.
For
It's
sure,
like
no.
it's yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a
but
mosh
there's
pit guy.
like there's this
Not anymore. Neither am I.
Yeah, right.
there's a whole
that
etiquette
now.
to it.
Bet.
So I'm gonna ask what I wanted to ask it for, because I was gonna start with this, and it kind of segues into something. Because I have a question for you, Mark. Have you guys watched We Are the Champions on Netflix?
Yeah. That's a
You know,
great
so
show.
funny. I was literally gonna text you to watch it a week ago.
I watched it about around that time too.
Okay, which episode are you gonna talk about?
Well, I let it play one day. I was working. I was letting it play in the background. But
Can
the
we
one I
talk
watched,
about cheese rolling, please?
Okay, that one.
Or
okay.
the pepper one?
So
Yeah.
that's why I'm asking.
The
one is
pepper
nuts.
one.
Okay, we can talk about it. But the reason I'm asking,
I'm okay, thank you.
Rick, so you know why I'm asking is because Mark grows Ghost Reaper peppers or some crazy on your balcony.
Carolina Reaper
On his balcony. Last time I was over, we're having a couple glasses of scotch, and we go outside, and he's like, "Check these peppers out, dude. They're so scary looking. They're like."
I
they
should have
weren't ripe
brought some
then.
hot sauce. Let you try it.
As
That
soon as
would've
I
been a
watched,
good
so
one.
the reason I wanted to bring this up is because as soon as I watched that show, I thought it was cool. Honestly, like that fact that people like will risk that pain they do for $1,000 and like the fame of it, eat those peppers. I'm watching. I'm like, Mark has these peppers.
Yeah, but like, and so I think if you look at like the guy who was growing all the peppers that started the started the whole contest, that guy, the way he grows peppers, like he's got them in greenhouses and stuff like that, and he's breeding peppers. He's the guy's a master at what he does. I can't
They
even
say he's the best in the world.
Yeah, it's crazy. But like. Yeah, so I grew some of those. I don't think mine are as hot as the ones that he grows.
Which ones exactly do you have?
I
You
grow
have two, right?
I grow Carolina Reaper, which used to be the hottest pepper in the world up
So they
until.
infused it with the other one.
Well, yeah, so
you
that's
call it,
what
the
they
Murder
do.
Reaper or
So,
something?
but like every year, like the ghost pepper, which now McDonald's has it on their menu occasionally.
That's the Americanized like.
But that used to be the hottest pepper in the world a few years ago, and then they bred that with another one. I think it was a.
Imagine you're a
scorpion
pepper
pepper?
breeder.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
Very niche market.
yeah, but
Apparently
Not anymore. No, sorry, not
Yeah.
anymore. But like,
but like every year, like the world record changes. So I think the pepper now.
like Scoville?
Can we do a fact check on
Oh,
this?
wow, first time Jordan fact check
Mark,
us.
you're
Yeah.
good at this. You really should have your own podcast.
Thank you.
That was
Hey,
slick.
what do you want her to fact check?
Okay, can you type in pepper X?
Oh, that's the one at the end, right?
It should be. I think, if I'm correct, that is the world's hottest pepper as of today's date. Up until
Mark, that
you
was,
know.
honestly, I'm like that was very
I like
slick.
that. That's the first time anybody's ever done that.
Can you? That's
Can we get a fact
Sure,
check?
That's what we got you. Okay, well, I was looking that up. So, but didn't they show Pepper X at the end of this? We Are the Champions.
Maybe I didn't end up seeing the end of that episode.
Did you watch them when the guy at the end eats it and the guy wins it?
That is the hottest one.
What is
right?
it?
Pepper X.
What's
like they can't,
is there a Scoville number?
It's like probably 1.4, 1.5 million Scovilles.
No, it's got to be more than that. 3 million.
3,100,000.
What?
No
Did you know?
big deal.
Did you
No, I
guess?
watched the show.
Oh, okay.
It says
I was
towards the end.
Oh,
Like,
what a guess,
I think
man!
one of the hard, like craziest ones is like.
This guy's a pepper aficionado.
million.
Yeah, and like commercial
No,
grade
I'm
pepper
absolutely
spray
not.
is like 2 million or something.
Yeah, that's what they said.
So
That's
it's
so
pretty
insane.
wild.
Did you see it? Okay, so I don't want to give it away too much, but
Well, no. You know what? Wait. Spoiler alerts.
Yeah.
If you
fast forward like
Yeah.
2 minutes if you don't want to hear
Well,
it.
yeah, a couple minutes here. So if you don't want it to be ruined for you, we won't talk about who won.
no, but we're gonna talk about the show.
Yeah.
So
If you haven't watched it, pause this now. Go watch it. Come back.
yeah, so it's called We Are the Champions. I think it's episode 4 is about this pepper eating. So
Well,
this
wait, that was the first one. Was the pepper eating?
no, the
First
first
for
one's
the cheese rolling.
That girl with the crazy shoulder.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god. Anyway, sorry. Continue your story.
So I'm watching this and I'm thinking, okay, the first one, this guy's talking, this pepper goat breeder kind of guy. He's talking about how no one's gonna stand these peppers, blah blah, and they're showing all the people, right? And they're showing like some of them look like they could eat whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So then towards the end, there's 4 people that haven't
Whatever.
bowed down yet.
That's
And I'm
crazy.
man,
I saw
this is
that. That was nuts.
And then they do the speed round, and you have the one Indian lady with the crazy
like
teeth.
Guy-
No, she
or
was
she
British.
Guy-
with the
Guyanese- no.
teeth. With the teeth.
Yeah, yeah.
Because she said my British teeth hinder me from the speed
Yeah,
round.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Never heard that.
You
No,
know, man, I was like,
that's-
oh,
that's
my
hilarious.
British teeth are a disadvantage. Something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. 'Cause she had
that's
chompers. And like not good ones. So they're going through it, and you see this girl crying, and you have the one dude on the end, not even sweating.
It's the big guy.
Yeah, like the dude.
That's-
Wasn't even sweating. Backwards hat on, just staring at people. Like,
Yeah, he was being cocky about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
but he knew he was
That's
going to
so
win.
crazy
Yeah.
that you can do that.
He must have like no taste buds at all, like inner like esophagus outline.
Something.
Yeah, like
So I remember I had a buddy that was going to school in Detroit, and so we would go down and visit him. I looked up this place. It was on Man vs. Food, and they served up.
George, can you check the screen?
They served up like the world's largest burger. They held the Guinness record for it. It's like this. They basically fill like this giant pot with ground beef and make a burger out of it, and it's like a $2,000 challenge. Basically, you get 20 of your buddies together, and you're supposed to mow through this giant burger. They have
GB2, man. Where you at? For sure.
So, but they also had this other thing called the Hellfire Hat Trick, and
I think I've heard this.
I've been to like any wing place I go to or anywhere there's hot food. I'm always like, yeah, give me the hottest you got. And so like around Toronto and Durham and wherever I'd been, yeah, okay, no problem eating.
Like, so Duff's Armageddon.
It's hot. And it's
not-
not,
it's
not
not
always
I
comfortable.
probably knew this, but I didn't know you can handle that hot. Because like our buddy DB.
Yeah.
So DB is like that. Like we go to he orders like suicide and a side of suicide.
Yeah, but that's at St. Louis. At Duff's, I don't think he does Armageddon. I think he does the Armageddon on the side and dips it in.
Oh,
a
yeah?
little bit.
Yeah. So like
Armageddon's crazy.
it's
You tried it?
It's
Yeah,
hot.
it's like terrible.
Oh,
It's
I
hot.
can't. I-
It's not comfortable, but for
Yeah.
people who like spicy food, it's cool, right?
Yeah.
So I figured, hey, I've kind of done everything I needed to do in Toronto, tried all the hottest food, and
I got to venture out.
yeah. And so I go down to this place, Mally's, and it's in Detroit or just outside of Detroit.
Did you go there just for this? Or you
No,
there
we
for
were in
something?
Detroit
Okay.
visiting my buddy, and we said, hey, let's make a stop there. We'll go to see a Red Wings game after. So we had a whole day planned. And so So as I started doing research on this challenge, I figured like, okay, so it's a pound of wings, a bowl of chili, and a burger, which basically just has some chili on top of it. But they make it with this hellfire sauce, which is supposed to be really hot. And I'm saying to myself, well, that's a lot of food, and maybe that's why nobody really finishes the challenge, because like it's just a ton of food. And I wasn't concerned so much about eating all the food, but I wanted to try the heat and see if I could handle it. So they bring out the wings, they bring out the burger, they bring out the chili, and I think I did a scoop of chili, of the chili, and then I took a bite of the burger. And then I was crushed. I was just like, can you get me something to drink? And the waitress is just like, casually walking over. And I'm just like, get me something to drink. I'm literally reaching across the table and grabbing my friend's drinks and like just chugging them because it was so hot. And she's like, so I was like, hey, can you bring me some milk or bring me something? And she's like, but you're going to lose the challenge. I was like, I don't care about the challenge anymore. Like, bring me something to drink.
I'm dying.
Yeah. And so like by the, so she brings some drinks out. Anyway, by the time I was kind of done with all the drinks on the table, if you looked at the table in front of me, it was just a bunch of empty glasses. So I had consumed probably like 10 liters of liquid just to try flushing out this heat, and it was still burning. It was terrible. And this is off one scoop of chili and a bite of a burger, and it was terrible. And so now my stomach is full of liquid, and it can't hold any more liquid. And so I end up going to the washroom. I got sick, and like all this liquid came out. Right now, the thing is,
burning on the way up.
It's burning on the way up too.
Like dragon's breath, just
right?
fire.
Yeah. So now, not only are my intestines on fire, now my whole face, my whole nasal cavity,
coming out,
and then he touched his eyes.
Is on fire. And I get out of the stall, and I remember, and then you just have like the chef or the cook. He's there like washing his hands, like, and he looks at me. He's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "You're the guy that ordered that?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, he just like shook his head at me and then walked out. He was so like, because what ends up happening, it's so hot, they have to actually clean the entire grill before they can prepare other food on it again.
Really?
So just as a function of doing this challenge, this guy had to clean the grill. Now, I wasn't the only guy doing the challenge. I looked across, and there was a booth like a few feet over, and there's a guy in there. I remember him so vividly. He was like this bald redheaded guy. He had a beard, and he had powered through the wings, but he was basically just sitting there, and he was shaking. So he was done the pound of wings, which I don't even know how he got that far into it, and he was just shaking.
And he was on the Netflix series a couple years later.
I'm pretty sure he died, because it was like like his girlfriend, his girlfriend that he.
I'm gonna laugh about the way you said that. Was just, I didn't
his
expect
girlfriend
that.
Was like looking at him. She
so
was really concerned in this guy, and I was just. And so this is brutal. And so we left. We had to go to we had tickets for the Detroit Red Wing game
after that.
So okay, well that was lunch. That was like 1 o'clock. The game started at 7. So I get in the car, and we're driving out. I don't know where, to the next place, whatever was on our agenda. And I'm literally hunched over in the car, and I'm in excruciating pain. I felt like I had a razor blade in my intestines, and that persisted for the next 6 hours. I got to the game. Like I like crawled into the game, and I was hunched over, and like the only reprieve I got was like when I fell asleep in the middle of the game, because I was in so much pain. I was just like, I just went to sleep for half an hour, and I was like, maybe the pain will go away. And then I woke up, and it was slightly better, but it was literally the worst hot food experience of my life. Would I do it again? No. If I could go back in time, I would still do it. I wouldn't change the fact that I did it. Yeah. So, and it's like, if anyone can do that, like, my hat's off to you. And
do you know how hot it was on a school, like it just in a ballpark?
I don't even know
the Schofield level.
Scoville. Yeah. So I don't know how hot it was, but It was not nice.
Well, sorry, and then back to the question. So have you tried the peppers you made?
Yeah, it's not as hot as I thought it was going to be.
The peppers you made?
Yeah. So I made a hot sauce with, I had a
Those
really...
are Reapers, right?
Yeah, they're pretty hot, but it, like...
This thing in Detroit was hotter than that.
Oh, yeah, like
for sure.
by 100 times. Like, the hottest
I wonder
thing...
what peppers they use then.
The hottest thing I ever had was I was at Duff's once, and someone's like, "You gotta try the Armageddon," blah blah blah. So I got a pound of my regular wings, and a friend, a bunch of us all split a pound of Armageddon just to see. So we all ate our food, and then we're like, "Okay, we'll start." I was the first one to go. So the thing is, you don't realize it right away. So you can I had a good bite. I'm like, okay, I'm okay. Have another bite. Okay, third bite, chicken wings done basically.
Yeah.
So I have it. I'm like, it's not too bad. As soon as I said it's not too bad, down my throat, and I'm like, oh my God. And I was like, okay, give me the water. So you start chugging water. And it's like, again, second glass of water. Then everyone's like, milk's the answer. You need milk. I'm like, all right, give me the milk. Grab the milk. Chug a glass of milk.
Nothing works.
Mind you, but I'm like you said, 2 glasses of water deep plus a glass of milk deep. Plus a pound of chicken wings, or probably 2 pounds because
Yeah.
I like chicken wings. So I'm 2 pounds of wings deep, 2 glasses of water, a glass of milk, and I'm like, okay, I'm dying now. I'm just so full. Exactly. So you go to the bathroom. I get bad heartburn. Most of my good friends know. So obviously it's coming right back up.
Yeah.
Exact same scenario. So I'm in the bathroom at Duff's, eyes just like
bugging out,
sticking out of my face, like. And, you know what I mean? Like fully sticking out of my face. And I remember getting up and I'm wiping my tongue and the inside of my mouth with napkins. So I'm like, that'll fix my mouth, and I just got to deal with like my
the rest of
Ricky
your body,
solve the problem
Yeah,
in his
I'm
state of
literally
how
just
to get rid of hot.
Yeah,
wiping
just
my
like
mouth
start
down
licking
with
napkins.
Yeah.
that's
Soap
what I
and
was
water, I
doing.
heard
And
works too.
Honestly, it was terrible. Mine only lasted, thank God, maybe like an hour.
Yeah.
But it was absolutely terrible. And like I'm looking at the wall of all the people who had finished a pound of Armageddon wings, and I'm like, man, these guys are animals.
Yeah.
So I have a question about that. I don't know if you would know the answer. If you eat hot wings, because I can do hot, but I don't go hot. I mean, I probably could do it. I just don't like.
Buffalo Ranch.
I don't like the thought of dealing with it. I just rather not endure that. But if you're at that point, so say you like scarfed on Armageddon and you have 3 and they're hot, but the challenge is to eat 7 or like a dozen, whatever, a pound. At that point, does the pain get worse, or is it not? Like, are you just in so much pain you just don't want to keep going? But if you keep eating them, the Scoville units don't increase as you eat, right?
Yeah, so like, does the pain like accumulate?
Exactly. That's what I wonder.
I don't know.
Hey, can we Google that?
I would think it would get worse.
Can we Google
because-
does? I don't. How can you Google that?
I don't know. That's
You know what? I ruined it. Mark had a good Google. I have a bad Google.
I think it would get worse.
I'm not good at this. I'm learning.
Hey, leave the fact checking to me, okay?
Yeah, the thing about eating chicken wings, right? When you eat one, it goes down your throat, but then it's going down your throat. It's going down your throat with all the other like juices and fluids of your body. So if you had more, I think it would cover more of your inner lining. And that's what makes it burn, no?
Where you
it's not just your mouth.
feel heat the most is in your mouth.
I know sometimes your stomach and
you can feel it. It gets warm,
real
but
pain
most of
centers your mouth.
because I
You
guess
the taste buds. And
yeah,
everything,
yeah.
right? It's more sensitive, more nervous.
Well, actually, no, because think about when it gets really hot. Do you see that? Remember, We Are the Champions. Everyone's stomachs.
That's like, listen, that's gonna cause you ulcer and acid reflux at that point. Like that's like. How many peppers they ate? They probably ingested like 100 million Scoville units.
It's stupid, and like just eating raw pepper like that. So when I made this hot
How
sauce,
can that even taste good?
It's not. I don't think it's for low. I mean, not that level for taste. Like hot sauce has good taste.
Those peppers, they're like peppers are fruit. It has some of those peppers have really good flavor. No, it's a fruit.
Peppers are fruit.
I think so.
Fact check. Damn it!
we all looked at it.
Damn it!
Yeah, it's a.
I should know this.
Peppers
I'm
like a bell
acting like
peppers,
I'm a pepper expert, and like I don't even know if
You
it's
just
a fruit
lost
or a
all the
vegetable.
viewers that said
I have
this.
no
Who
credibility.
were like, "Well, Mark's a genius." Now they're like, "Guys,
Yeah.
you know his own
Yeah.
specialty."
And yeah, he grows them.
Turning off the podcast right now.
Mark's been on his patio. He's like, "You guys are good fruits."
Yeah,
nurturing his fruits.
nurturing my fruits. Yeah.
Sorry, so you're saying about the sauce you made?
Oh yeah, it was funny when I was making it. So basically, what I did, you make a little bit of a stock or a broth. So I boiled some garlic, carrots, and onions. And so you boil that, and then you're supposed to like chop up the peppers, take out the seeds, and then boil that for a little bit. Then you mix it all together, add some lime juice and some water, blend it up, and then you get your sauce. That's this particular recipe. So I cut up all these peppers, and then I started boiling them, and so now you have this, this hot water, and like when you strain things out, like the steam comes off. So my brother was in the kitchen; he was like working on the table. I was at the, at the stove, and so I empty these. The peppers into the colander, and all the steam starts coming off. We both start like coughing and choking because all the like the capsaicin is being released now in vapor or steam form, and we're just coughing. We're coughing and dying, and then we're like, oh god, we're gonna get a report from the from the condo, that there's like noxious fumes. Someone's gonna call the police or something. But
Came in homemade pepper spray.
it was brutal. It was brutal.
Is it true the seeds are the hottest part?
That's what they say. I left them in. They on the hot sauces. They tell you to take them out. I just like put them all in there. Just cut the stems off and then toss.
Mark
it
is
in.
so reckless.
Yeah.
I love it.
Mark's like, these fruit got great seeds.
Yeah, we treat it like a fruit.
Just to finish up on this thing of
We've covered a lot of ground so far.
We're the champions. I have one more thing I want to get into. I want to get Mark's real area of expertise. But one of the things on We're the Champions, I can't remember what the other ones I watched. I think I stopped on the yo-yo one, but that cheese rolling is so insane.
You know what?
You've been to Scotland? Is it Scotland?
I think it was
Wales?
England. Yeah, it was England or Wales, something like that. I have
Wales.
I think it's Wales.
I don't know.
Anyways, but you've been.
I watched
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That was the one I watched. I didn't really have it on. I was just had it on the background, kind of like.
I'm assuming you
passively
didn't go to where this.
No, I didn't
hill?
do cheese rolling. No,
You were there
but
on the cheese rolling. Wait, let me ask you. Would you ever do it? Would you compete?
I was thinking about. Yeah, I would. I would. I wouldn't.
throw yourself
I wouldn't
down.
go ham like
what you have to do.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't go ham like that champion, but I'd probably do
Yeah.
a little. I'd go like maybe like in terms of like risking it. I'd maybe go like 5 out of 10.
But
Would you do it, Rick? Would you do it?
No. Well, because first off, if I'm doing something I want to win, there's no way I could win.
It just seems so
Like
scary.
you see these people, like they actually have zero care for
And
their
you can't-
body. They just toss themselves down. Like I think
you see the guy, like the expert guy teaching
Yeah,
strategy.
yeah,
You gotta like roll and like. And
Yeah, you need to jump out of the
Yeah.
roll,
It's
and
like, seems worse to do that.
yeah.
You know what I thought? Because those people that go down a big hill, they'll backflip all the way down. I'm like, isn't there some gymnast somewhere in the world? But then I think it's crazy because I'm not the first person or only person who thought about that. It's probably not quicker than tossing yourself down like that.
No.
Tossing yourself down is the quickest way to get down a hill, obviously, based off if you
Yeah.
watch the show.
Didn't that guy win like 10 years in a
It's
row? or
insane.
something
And you know what's
crazy?
crazy? Like they get up and they kind of look normal. It's not like they got broken noses and
Crazy
like
sport.
missing teeth and shit.
Like, did you see the frog jumping one?
No.
Okay, so what really struck me about this show is that there's this whole culture that forms around this. So in the frog jumping one, the guy was like an IT security specialist.
What do you mean frog jumping?
Frog jumping.
Like
So-
leapfrog?
Yeah, so they get a frog
No,
and
like-
they draw like these
teach 'em how to
concentric
jump.
circles, and then they basically need to like coach the frog, so they like slap behind the frog and then it jumps.
Jumps, okay.
And so you have basically 3 of the frogs.
I would
jump.
love to see the show notes on this episode.
Yeah. So you need to get like the frog can jump 3 times, and then whatever that distance it reaches. So you want it to get 3 big jumps. The
like a sick
record
sport.
the record is like 21 feet or something. So a frog jumped, arguably he jumped 7 feet 3 times in a row in a straight line. So that's like the record. But like I said, what really struck me is like the culture and like the heritage. It's this really weird subculture. So this guy's like an IT specialist, but his entire family does frog jumping. When he's not at work, he's with his family catching frogs, training frogs.
Come on.
Hey,
What country? You know what country this is
the
in?
United States.
What?
Yeah.
Hey, babe, what are you doing this week? Oh, sorry, I can't hang out on frog jumping.
Yeah, like no, but like, can you imagine like I know everyone has hobbies, but imagine your hobby was like, oh, what are you doing this? Like, I picture this like a conversation happening in the office. Oh, how was your weekend, Fred? Well, mine was pretty good. I took the kids to the park, this and that. What about yours? Well, I was catching frogs at the turnpike, and we got a couple 8-footers. They were making big jumps. We got the whole team ready. It's frog jumping time. We got a big tournament to prepare for. for a week and a half from now, you know?
And you know what's funny though? You know what's funny? If Netflix was not around,
we would know
still
nothing.
be in obscurity. And because of Netflix, how many different industries are getting insights into?
Fun fact, actually. So when I watched the pepper, like my first thing was I need to get this pepper dude on the podcast.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, awesome. It's crazy.
Wow, we have the expert pepper guy here.
I'm
Yeah,
not
the fruit pepper.
Apparently not.
The fruit pepper.
This guy's they're gonna fact check us.
Yeah,
This guy
so
doesn't know what he's talking about.
My misinformation campaign
Yeah.
about peppers being fruits is, effectively.
It's gonna get flagged.
It is a fruit?
Wait, what?
Wait, we actually look it up. Wait,
So how did we have a wrong? Oh.
Jordan?
Wait, so wait. So
It's
it
a
is
fruit.
a fruit? A pepper's a fruit.
My fact checking.
Hey, you can't make us look bad like this.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Wow, that's crazy.
We're like, is it a vegetable? It's a vegetable. 10 minutes later.
I'm 2 for
This
2, guys.
episode
I'm
is-
2 for 2.
This episode is just
So
all
wait,
over. I
wait,
love it.
The pepper dude, the guy that
So you are, in fact, the expert pepper
yeah.
guy.
So the guy that won,
People are gonna be like livid that whole 10 minutes. Be like, he's right. In the comment section,
Vishal.
but pals are idiots.
but
and
did
then
you-
now it comes to the end. They're like, we knew it.
Did you see how easily I rolled over on that one though? You're like,
but you
you're like,
see-
yeah,
you're
I
like,
know.
it's a vegetable, and then we get the misinformation campaign over here.
fake news.
It's a vegetable. Okay, I guess it's a vegetable then. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna argue. This is your house. You know? Like,
Hey, you gonna.
apparently
it's not really us three. We're three not very smart people.
so
You should have a podcast.
yeah,
not us.
this pepper dude, I googled him and like you would think
The
he'd be-
winner.
the winner. You would think it'd be so easy to find this dude on Google. Like there'd be a million articles. You think he's getting interviewed left, right, and center. Well, you forgot the thing's about 2 years old. We are the champions.
It is.
Yeah, it's 2 years old. I think.
I thought it just came
no,
out.
listen. If they had Pepper
Maybe
X,
it just
it
came out
couldn't
on
be.
Netflix, but I think it's old.
Well, some of those episodes maybe,
Yeah,
but
the
the Pepper X just came out like a few months ago.
Okay, I
So-
believe the pepper X. So maybe,
So
some
maybe
of the other-
they added that.
Can
after
you
the
find out
fact.
when We Are the Champions is produced? This is
Yeah.
this is good. Thank
So
you.
so
Check-
Google
check- double check this one.
I thought he would be super famous and like crazy, but no, his Instagram had like 5,000 followers. Reached out to him, ignored me. Well, he didn't see it, so I'm not saying he.
Well,
ignored me.
listen, he's gonna hear about it on the podcast, and then
Are you part of the pepper community?
No,
No,
I'm not.
I was disappointed.
That's what's interesting though with Netflix. They really like. I just, you know what? There's always something on it. There's times where I get back on. I'm like, I'm watching Netflix again, but there's so many different like shows and things that I've been exposed to now that are like they seem really niche or really obscure, and now they're like, I don't know, just come to the forefront. Like Netflix is just doing a great job of bringing all of these little things out of the darkness. I mean, my personally favorite show on Netflix is I think one of them is Chef's Table.
Okay.
Like, have you seen it before? It's about like all the Michelin star restaurants.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know
I haven't
about-
watched it, but I've,
as someone who can eat, I did not know a lot about like the Michelin stars and all that stuff. And like, I remember the first one that was,
No, never mind. It is 2020.
yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah, we are the champions.
The first episode of the first ever Chef's Table. This is probably like now maybe 5 years ago. I don't know something. Was It was about Osteria Francescana, which at the time was the #1 restaurant in the world. And in Modena, Italy, where Ferraris made, Ducatis made.
Who ranks it? Is that like Michelin?
Michelin.
So they have it like
Michelin is Michelin Tire Guide.
Yeah.
So the ranking 1, 2, 3. I might get this wrong. I might have to fact check. But essentially, it's a guide by Michelin on like their tire rating on how far out of your way you should go to eat food. So like 1 star means you should drive like through hell and high water, get to that restaurant. 2 is like go out of your way. 3 is like, okay, maybe if you're off course. And like that's how I think how they rank it.
So the
Somewhere
1
in that
star is the
degree.
best, obviously.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Vice versa.
It's
3
reversed.
stars the best.
Okay, that's what
sorry.
I thought, yeah.
Thank
That
you
show
for
with
correcting
Bradley
me.
Cooper. What was that? Remember?
That was a good one. The twist that one we're not gonna give spoilers. That's a good twist at the end.
That was a good
Yeah,
movie.
But anyways, that's one of the shows. Like I didn't really know a lot about. Like I knew what Michelin star was, but never been to one, never knew about one. And the way they produced that show and like really give you a behind the scenes look on these chefs and how it's like an art form and all that stuff, I think that was so cool. I'm sure it wasn't like a niche thing or obscure thing because a lot of people are foodies, I guess, and blogs and all that. But I think it brought it to the masses, which is really, really cool. Anyways, and you getting cold? Oh, go ahead.
Let's see if I truly am a media.
And,
Let's see if a pepper really is a fruit.
anyways, I found that really cool. I think that Netflix does a really cool job with that stuff.
George, what's your favorite restaurant you've ever been to? I
Well,
think we just talked about this recently.
Did we? I think so. Did we?
We're just answering
Somewhere.
anyways.
Geranium. When I went with my good pal Vishal, who's going to fact check the heck out of this episode, but Geranium in Copenhagen. So actually,
I thought you were like talking about a place down the street. You know.
So when we were traveling, good buddy Vishal came to meet me, and Copenhagen, which I didn't really know at the time, was very big. There's some of the best restaurants in the world.
Really?
So Noma was the number one restaurant for a long time. 3-star Michelin was based out of there. Noma's the restaurant they were famous for. They cook like little ants. They like seasoned ants, and it was part of the course. They go really crazy. Like it's like a gastronomic experience. Again, didn't know a lot about this before Netflix and watching Chef's Table. And Geranium wasn't on it, but Vishal came in. He's like, listen, one of the best restaurants here. Like, it's booked 3 months in advance. He called them, and they're like, we have a cancellation. Do you want to come? We're like, done. 8 o'clock that night, we had a table. The restaurant only has like 64 seats or something. It's a very specific amount. 2 sittings, I think. No, 1 sitting a night. And the coolest thing is like, if I didn't watch the show, I don't think I would have appreciated it as much, because like we sat at a table at the outside of the restaurant, so it's like this room, kind of rectangular. The kitchen is in the back, but there's a prep area, so they bring everything out and they plate it like in front, so you see everything happening. It's a performance. But our table was like on the far back end, so we saw all tables and the chef, and it was a square box, and it was like watching a live episode of Chef's Table. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. That the food, don't get me wrong, was like, I can't even explain it. I don't even know half the stuff that was in it. Everything had like a story with it, but watching that felt like watching the show. And actually, funny enough, they took a little bit of inspiration. You know, the introduction to it, it's like a famous Beethoven or some artist song. Has a violin that's very powerful. At the end of the meal, they play it when they're serving the dessert, so it's like you're in the show.
That's crazy.
Anyways, I thought it was really cool. But that Geranium is my favorite restaurant I've ever been to, and it was like we got to hold so. Anyways, like a little side story. So the guy, one of the head chef is I forget his name, but his like sous chef, so the second guy in command, was a Greek guy. And I knew this because he came up and he was talking, and you know Greeks have a very distinct Greek accent. So I was
you know, like you see a Greek person in a room, and like from across the room,
you know,
like, yeah, that guy's Greek for sure.
Mark, I didn't know you were Greek though.
Yeah, well, I'm a chameleon.
Yeah. And there's a guy. So he.
How did you not know that,
Mark? I had no idea.
I don't know. I thought we've talked about this. Maybe not.
But like I've definitely said stuff to him in Greek around you.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe you just thought I was like
Mark,
mumbling.
Honestly, Mark, half the time me and you hang out, like
we'll not go there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so the reason it was a cool experience too is because after we ate, or while we were eating, it happened. I'm like, he's Greek. So after he's like, you guys want to like see the kitchen and stuff, give us a tour. So like most people just sit, they eat, whatever. Like we got to go like into the kitchen, hold the 3-star Michelin plaque. They gave us a tour. They explained the whole
what's
thing.
the plaque look like?
It's like a red, almost like a car parking spot sign. It's like a red sign that has like 3 asterisks, and it's just Michelin. It's really cool. It's pretty cool.
I'm gonna get a fake one.
Yeah, so it was
put
really
it
cool.
on my barbecue.
But it really gave me an appreciation. Like I think honestly, to circle back to the point, Netflix has given me an appreciation for a lot of things, industries, like interests that I never would. I think I would have seen. I don't really know how. I guess we got Netflix because of like the cheese rolling and the peppers, but really cool.
One thing you said that I actually loved was you said it was like watching a performance, and it's true. When you watch someone who is the best in what they do, it literally is art. Whether it's cooking, dancing,
frog jumping. You know, frog jumping can be an art.
Honestly, you see like the way Netflix makes the trailer for those frog jumps. You see the frogs going in such slow motion. Their legs are fully spread out. Their hands are. Like it is an art.
Yeah.
That's what's really cool too.
To finish that, I just love watching the best people in the world do what they do. Whether it's
whatever you're the best at, it's like it's cool to watch someone who's awesome at something just perform whatever that is.
And that's why I've always loved Olympians, and I've said this a million gajillion times, but they're the best in the world at what they do. And even if it's something I don't care about, and the best example to me is the one when the gymnasts throw the ball up. I don't know what it's called, what that sport's called. But they are in a big square and they have a ball and they have
like
to
the
throw
mat
it up.
set. It's like the mat
session.
session.
Whatever. And they throw the ball up, they catch, and they do all these like cool moves. And I'm like, literally, little kids do this in a playground, but they do it a million times better, and it's some of the coolest shit in the world.
Yeah.
I actually just saw a video of a girl. I think it was from 2004, the Olympics there, and she scored like a perfect record with the ball. Whatever. I don't know what the sport's called, but the ball sport.
Yeah. The ball
and
sport.
you watch, and you're like, this is literally magic.
Yeah.
It's like, this is beautiful. I have no idea what they're doing, but it's beautiful.
It's
anyways.
No. I just thought the last point I wanted to add to that is like, I agree. Watching people that are the best do what they do is really cool. It doesn't matter what it is. And honestly, just as you go back again, like I find like I never really thought about this until we started talking about like Netflix really it's cool because they give something for everyone, and then like We're the Champions not going to get watched like the way a Marvel movie is or something like that. But the thing is, there's a market for that, and they just gave it to someone. And not just that, they just let people like us see something that we would never know about. The cheese rolling's one that obviously I think I've knew about it before. It's like you hear about it, it's a very obscure sport, but like peppery, and that's
another good one on Netflix. Have you guys seen Losers? It's about 2 years old now.
Not all of them, but yes.
So that I loved. I thought it was honestly one of the best Netflix series that's like documentary or what are the docu-series. One of the best docu-series I've ever seen because they took something. Nobody ever talks about who came in second, or they have never talked about the losers. Yeah. But some of them had such amazing stories, and you're like, you know what? You're actually not a loser. Like,
yeah.
Craziest one of that was the race, the
desert.
Yeah, I know the name of the race. It's actually after like watching it, I ended up with the book that Jamshed got us. Shout out to Jamshed. I went through it again like a few times, but the race is called the I'm not gonna remember something. Anyways, it's a race.
That's where they have like you're on a dune buggy or a motorcycle, or is this like a
foot race?
Foot race.
240 mile, I believe. 240 mile race through through the desert in Morocco. It's through Morocco. You start, anyways. You go start at a point, but there's barely any markers. You're literally in the desert. You got to be able to pack everything on you,
and you have to map it out
7
yourself.
days. Yeah, you got to map it yourself, and you got to carry your supplies for at least I think it's 8-hour increments, or at least to each checkpoint. This one guy got caught in a sandstorm, took a wrong turn, and ended up getting stranded in the desert for like a week.
Yeah, and he found this like random little shack in the middle of the desert. Ended up staying in this shack for 3 days. Like killed a bird.
No, was eating bats.
Bats
in the cave. Bats. Then stumbled out. Someone found him. He ended up surving, but he ended up in another country. Ended up in Morocco. I don't know, something crazy. We just spoiled.
You gotta put a globe on top of that. So you can just like spin to it and like so you know what your countries are.
Dude, you're very smart. Yeah, that's a great idea. We bring up a lot of places, and it's like hard to like.
We should put. I bought you a globe for your housewarming.
I know, but I have it on my thing. I like that globe. Okay, I'll bring it.
We got to find a company to get us a globe. That's it.
Hey, anyone got a globe? Donate it to us. One other thing, I think we've kind of exhausted the Netflix thing, but one thing I did want to talk about, and we're kind of getting to that point with Scotland. I was asking because you've been out there, because you're a big Scotch, what's the word, aficionado?
I wouldn't even say that. I just my brother, my cousin, and I went, we spent a week in Scotland and a week in Ireland, both, amazing countries, but Scotland, we rented a car and we drove around. I think when you travel in other places, if you have the time and the ability to do it, it's the best thing to just like rent a car and then generally where you're gonna go, set out your course, and then kind of just see where things take you. And so we ended up going to a few different distilleries because it's like, okay, well, you're in Scotland, we might as well try Scotch. And it was really cool because you end up kind of going to all these different parts, and some of these distilleries are like super small, and they don't export out of Scotland and things like that. And so you start to learn a lot more about the craft of actually distilling Scotch, and there's so much heritage and history that behind each one of these distilleries, and that's something that we really enjoyed. Just getting to know more about that. And so, when we came back, I kind of came up with this idea to have a Scotch club. And it's not that I have a great palate. There's people in the Scotch
Obviously
club.
not if you like hot peppers.
Yeah, I think that's probably why I destroyed my palate.
He said that to you before. That's one thing I find interesting because
Wait, what did he say?
About like we talked about Scotch Club, and we've talked about this a few times, but he's like, I don't consider my I have a good palate, but you always said you figured out a good way to do it. That's
I'm basically like an organizer, and so at our Scotch Club there's 12 people in it, and that's
Are you in it, George?
Not again. No. I'm not cool enough.
I'm
kidding. I'm just joking.
I think I might have. No, I didn't.
No. Listen,
you can't commit, man.
I can't. I'm not, honestly,
Scotch Club has
rules.
You
told me because he told me there's rules. If you can't show up, what?
I want to hear from him.
But no, that one. Tell him the rule that
the rule that basically got you disqualified. Is you need to be able to commit, and like if you miss 3 times, you're out.
So I basically by default he knew I was gonna miss because I'm flaky at times.
So
I wishy-washy. It's not on my calendar.
Even sometimes it's in your calendar, but
Anyways, go ahead.
What are so Scotch Club? There's 12 of you. What are the rules?
So
what's it called? Is the Scotch Club?
Yeah, it's just Scotch Club. I think we call it Scotch Hall, and then we've got a picture of Scott Hall, you know, the wrestler. And he's holding like a bottle of Lagavulin and a bottle of Macallan.
That's actually pretty good.
What were you at George's birthday when we did the Scotch tasting?
No, I wasn't there.
That's why
You didn't come. You didn't come with the John. You did.
2014,
Did I?
2015.
At my,
Mark, I think you
at
were
my
there.
King Street condo, we had the yeah, for sure. I
Johnny
invited
Walker.
you.
Mark,
Johnny
I think
Walker.
You were there.
No, if you had the rep in from Johnny Walker.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't there.
No, because you did it. You're the one that told me about it.
I did it, but I wasn't there.
Yes,
I
you told
see.
me.
I put you onto a good
Yeah,
tip, and
so
then
he-
I don't even
he's the one
get to
that told me.
benefit from it.
No, for sure. There's a reason you were there. It's my birthday. I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
invite you.
Yeah, I know, I know.
Yeah, because I think it was after Vegas. So like we were all like, no, this was the year before we all went to Vegas.
Are you sure? No, I didn't. I lived downtown. I moved downtown 2015. It was that same year.
Yeah. I wasn't at that one.
No, but because you're the one that told me about him, and I emailed the rep. I forgot about that. Actually, that was a really fun thing.
It was very interesting.
Yeah.
And we got pretty.
Yo,
cheap.
Johnny Walker, if you're doing the Scotch tastings again, we're always open to some tastings. Yeah, look at it. Look at Johnny
Mark.
Walker.
So rules. Sorry.
So
Well,
yeah.
not rules, the format.
So yeah, so the whole thing, and it was interesting because what I
I'm low key trying to catch an invite.
getting 12
Rick's looking
people,
for a club.
getting
Anytime.
12 people, 12 guys together can be it can be difficult at the best
Impossible.
of times, right? Especially some of the guys have they have children or children on the way. And it's like, imagine a guy going home to his wife or his girlfriend. Yeah, I'm going out with 12 of my buddies tomorrow. We're just going to drink some scotch. Or, no, you're not. That's definitely the answer he's going to be getting. Now, it's a little bit different when you put a format around it. And we have it kind of a good format. So we like, there's usually like 3, maybe 4 bottles that are presented. They're all new bottles all the time. The person who brings the bottle basically needs to do a presentation on the distillery and the particular type of scotch that they brought. And so you try basically a 1/2 ounce neat, and then you try a 1/2 ounce with a drop of water. And we have this special water that's been shipped in from Scotland. It's like distilled from some...
Shut up.
Yeah. Like the shipping on it was probably more than the water was, but...
Where do you host them?
Well, we would do it at my place originally, and then kind of as the group got a little bit bigger, we started opening it up to going to other people's places. And so in the summer, it was nice to be able to do it outside. You got a lot of space.
How many meetings are there a year?
12. So
one a month.
One a month, and
Is it
so
the same like the last Thursday of the month?
It's the third Friday of every month. Is when we do it. And so this is one of the things I learned, as we're going through this. If you were to say, "Oh, we're gonna meet up next month," and people are, oh, maybe I can make it, like, it doesn't work that way. So when you stick to this format
Friday,
of saying like third Friday of every month, everybody knows, and so in advance, it's already in your calendar. And so that's worked out pretty well, and it's interesting because some people miss. We have a mutual friend who will go nameless, but he was in the original Scotch Club. I think you know who I'm talking about. He missed the first 3, and I was like,
You axed him.
Yeah.
Right up the
Oh
gate.
yeah. I took him out on the boat like Fredo, in The Godfather. So
Great reference.
so
This guy's cultured, man.
but
like
but
that.
it was
That's a good reference.
It was funny because like the third one, he's like, man, I really want to go, but it's like my sister's engagement party. I said, you got to pick, man. And
It's true. Scotch Club is not
so
something to mess around.
So yeah, so he
Like,
went.
we're really good friends, and he even knew that I was not with the commission. He just gave me the benefit of the doubt. I'm not gonna embarrass you, George. You're not in.
Yeah,
I'm cool with that.
And so
you know me too well.
Self-awareness.
like as you kind of go through this, you start coming up with rules. So okay, well, so we do a membership thing every 6 months. So if somebody, because basically the rotation works that every third month you end up presenting a bottle, that's just how it works out with the numbers. And so on the 6 months we say, okay, is anybody that's participating right now doesn't want to be in the club anymore, and then they have the option to opt out. And then there's like a whole nomination process where you gotta
Look at Rick's
you gotta vouch for the person that you're nominating.
Doesn't matter.
I'm gonna create a vodka club.
But that's the thing. This format is like so applicable. I thought, like, I started doing it with vinyl. I like collecting vinyl and listening to music, and it's a good way. So it was the fourth Friday of every month, and admittedly, vinyl nights were a little bit less structured. And it was really just like bring a vinyl and just do a presentation and like a quick 30-second. This is the reason I brought this vinyl. It was a gift from my grandfather or whatever. And so it's like, but once you kind of figure out that recipe, it's a really good way to get people together because everyone's schedules are crazy.
Yeah.
And when you say, okay, third Friday of every month, it's vodka club, and so you do all your different types.
Wine, food.
What are the first and second Fridays of the month?
I'm still working on clubs for those, so I'll figure. You might
Pepper
get
Club guy.
Yeah,
the Pepper Club.
Yeah, you might get an invite to that one.
The Pepper Club. Okay, I'll take that.
So
first Friday's Pepper Club. Second Friday cheese contest.
Yeah.
Third
that would
is
be
Scotch.
smart because the pepper spicy, the cheese counters that, so you need a week to recover, and the cheese kind
I'd have to go pepper first, then cheese.
That's
Yeah.
what you said.
I'll do it.
You said pepper, then cheese.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So
And then wash it down with the Scotch. Week 3.
Yeah,
And then chill out and listen to some music.
Listen to music. Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom.
So I think.
Ooh, what about when there's 5 Fridays in a month?
You have one off. You need a break sometimes.
Yeah. Sleep on that night,
One. So yeah, I've been Mark's place. I don't know what you have more of, vinyls or scotches, but you have a good collection of all of them. If either. Actually, I'm gonna ask before I go to the point. I wanted to make 2 questions, 2-part question. What is your favorite scotch and your favorite vinyl?
I had a feeling this question might come up. I think
never prepared. I just
Favorite pepper.
Yeah, I don't know. Anything hot, yeah. Like Lagavulin 16 is probably my...
Sorry, what?
Lagavulin 16. It's a really, if you like kind of peaty scotches, that's a really good one.
Where's it from?
Lagavulin, what region
Wow,
is
your
it from?
Scotch club would be so disappointed right now.
Oh, I usually have
regions.
a map and notes, and I'm like, okay, that's
like
where it is.
Highland.
Yeah, I think Lagavulin, and don't fact check this on live because I think it's a Lowland Scotch or an Isla Scotch. Anyway, it's peaty, it's nice. That's probably my favorite. That's a go-to. I love the fact that when you drink it, you just you have an ounce and then you finish it and you sip on it all night and you put the glass down on the table. It's almost like a candle is burning because the entire room starts to smell like this peaty scotch. So that's that. Favorite record, probably I would have to say is Deloused in the Comatorium. It's an album by a band called the Mars Volta, and
they're good.
Yeah.
You know how I know who that is? I just watched it again recently. Get Him to the Greek. Jonah Hill brings up Mars Volta.
Does he?
Movie.
They were in that?
I don't know if they're
idea.
in it, but he brings it up. And the only reason I know the name is I watched it again maybe a week ago. Not as funny as it was the first time.
That's a funny movie though when they're high on shrooms. Or ecstasy?
No, it's the Jeffrey or whatever, isn't
Jeffrey,
it?
yeah,
They rubbing the
Matty.
wall. P. Diddy's rubbing the wall. You know what?
That's
Not as
funny.
funny as it was the first time I watched it. I'm watching it again. I'm like, it's okay. It didn't age too well. It's still pretty
I'm
good.
going to watch it again just
Wait,
to see
he
the
brings
Mars
up Mars
Volta
He
reference.
says, I think he says the Mars Volta's playing a show or something.
That's
Sorry, I'll
off.
let you continue. I don't know who the hell Mars
So-
Volta is, but I know them from that
So
movie.
they're this progressive rock band from El Paso, Texas, and I think they were around in the I don't know, probably the late 90s, early 2000 is when they really became popular. And they took a bit of a break. They haven't put out music for as the Mars Volta for I don't know, I want to say close to a decade maybe.
Wow.
But this record was it's an original pressing. This is I think it's 2005 or 7, something like that. So a while back. But I was jamming out to them one night on Spotify, and I was like, it would be great to have this vinyl. And so I start looking, and I found, I think Discogs was the website, and I went on there, and I ended up buying this record. I got crazy into them, and I spent $300 on this record.
Wow.
On one?
On one record.
Is it very limited?
It's the
Sorry,
most
what's their name again?
The Mars Volta. And the reason it was expensive, it's basically a collector item because they did an original pressing when the album first came out
Which
in
was-
2007.
okay.
But it's not reproduced anymore,
And they're not touring it
it's
anymore. Or
so
not
the
producing,
band's
yeah.
done basically, right?
Yeah.
And so this is like the original record, and it's like, you know, it's not in mint condition or anything like that, but it was just one of those things.
How
I
does it
felt
sound?
like. Here's the funny thing: I haven't even listened to it.
What?
I haven't listened to it. I'm like, I
So
think.
it's your favorite just because like the kind of
fucking
story.
300
No, I
behind
haven't
it, or-
listened. I haven't listened to the vinyl.
Oh, but the actual.
Yeah. I haven't listened to the vinyl though. The vinyl came in, and I was like, "Am I going to regret this decision when I open this box?" And I opened it, and I was like, "I'm so happy to have this," but I'm kind of scared. Like, part of me is like, maybe the guy duped me, and he just sent me these two like phony records, and I'm almost like scared to like put it on and see.
It's almost
But-
like that. What's it? The paradox where it's like if there's a box and there's a cat in the box, is the cat dead or alive?
Yeah,
Kind of like that thing. You don't know, so you don't want to find out. So you just kind of
I might
leave
like,
it to mystery.
Yeah. So
I think it's something like that.
So it's yeah. So that's probably my favorite record. And then I also have an original pressing of Rock. What is it? It's the band Rock of Ages. No, not Rock of Ages. That's the other one. Why am I blanking here?
While you're thinking about that,
Queen?
I stopped buying records online because a couple of them I bought came warped.
Yeah.
And then it's like you eventually Google how to flatten them, but I would just have to flatten them all and like keep stacks of books on top because I have like a shitty little record player, nothing crazy. And
Same one we have here.
Yeah, the exact same one we have there. And the reason why I bought it is because, you know, sometimes just relaxing. If I have my phone playing music, sometimes you get a notification or you open Instagram or social media, it messes with the music. Then you get a phone call and the music stops and it's annoying. Yeah. So this is nice. You just throw that on. Every, 20 minutes you got to get up, flip it over, whatever. But it's fine. You end up listening to the music more. But some of my records came warped and I was like, this is so annoying.
Well,
It's
and
kinda
that's the thing. Like, vinyl also has a certain warmth to it, right?
Mm-hmm. You can hear the almost like
there's a crackle. Yeah. And
you just feel like someone's playing it for you.
Yeah, it feels.
I feel almost like it puts you in a place of like being in like a smoky bar or like kind of in a nice calm. I don't know something.
It's warm. I think that's
diner.
warm. It's the only way to describe it because like some other music,
like Pinkerton plays it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you
Pinkerton.
expect when you go there. Yeah.
Actually,
good one,
we actually have a few records. We haven't played them yet, but I think one of the
don't
first.
have a power chord.
I think it's in the box. I'm gonna get it down, but I think like I would buy records online, but the first like classic old record I went and bought, I don't know what year or print or whatever it is, but when I actually have like an okay or decent record player at my place, but so I was like, you know what, I want to go buy something that's like old, that's kind of cool. So I walked into a record store. I think it was the one on Queen here. I forget what the name of it is, but it's not far. Anyways, I walk in. I was like, you know what? I want like some kind of jazz or something blues or jazz. So I'm getting Miles Davis, one of his old ones. And it was like I opened it, like it looked really old and beat up, and I took the thing out and I put it on and it had that like scratchy feel. And I'm listening to the trumpet and everything. And honestly, I was like, man, this is how music should be listened to. Like, I don't know. It just kind of transports you somewhere you're listening to that.
Well, and you know where I got this idea. I remember getting into a cab and I was speaking with the cab driver, and we started talking about music, and he's like, back in my day, he was an older guy. He said, back in my day, we would, when a new record came out, he's like, one of us would buy it and we'd all meet up at somebody's house and we'd put it on, we'd listen to it together. So it was like, there was like this community. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I was just gonna say that. It's crazy that
you belong in the East End, Rick.
No, I was just gonna say that ties into this whole conversation we've had. Think about. We talked about the East End community. We talked about the
if we're talking about records and the East End, my buddy Derek Antonio, he runs Pop Music
Shout out
Canada.
Derek Antonio.
They're at Gerrard and Broadview.
Like
Derek,
a record shop?
Record shop. It's a tiny little spot. The guy's got tons of records in there. He knows what he's doing, and like I remember, like anytime I'm feeling like a record, I just send Derek an email. Doesn't matter what time of day. And he's like, okay, I'm on it. And then I'll get a call from Derek like a few days later.
No
hey,
way.
Mark, your record's in. All right, I'll see you tonight, man. So
That's sick.
And you walk down, and on the way over to the record store, you see the dude from whatever restaurant.
Yeah.
Pinkertons.
Yeah,
Buying some booze.
Yeah.
You know what? Honestly, it's kind of a good way to like kind of
We have dropped, by the way, we have pumped so many businesses.
Oh, 100%.
Which is,
you know what?
Which is great.
Do it. But what I was gonna say was all these places we've actually named. I've been with you to almost all of them except for the record store. But I've been to we bumped into each other. We won't get into that story, but we bumped into each other at Vatican Gift Shop.
Yeah,
really cool name and great pizza. It's like almost like a speakeasy type vibe.
You know what we're gonna do actually? Maybe
that's what I was gonna say. Go ahead. I was gonna say what we should do because of all this is that we should have a night where when things open up again, even if it's the dead of winter, like if it's January and we can go back into these like it's dining, whatever. Whenever we can do it, we should all go and do it. We should do a night.
Yeah, I'm in for that too. And what I was gonna say is, what we'll do is we'll grab, we'll screen grab every shout out we did, and just even post those clips on like our stories for Instagram or something.
Sure.
Because then give them a nice little plug, tag them, help support them.
Yeah, can you like at them in the comments?
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, we'll look them up on Insta. When we post the clip on Instagram, we'll look it up. Yeah,
so we'll screen grab every single shout out.
You know what? Actually,
you know the below the thing is going to be like that.
We'll do it. I gotta listen. I don't do my job very well because I don't ever put the show notes. I'll do it for this one.
Okay. And you also forgot to do the last episodes. I
knew I was gonna do that.
I knew you were.
It takes too long. That actually kind of brings us full circle, and it's kind of a good way. We're kind of nearing that point, but I want to just go ahead. But I want to
mine was kind of before we wrap up. I had one.
I'm not wrapping. The mine's not ready to wrap yet, but it's about. I didn't get to finish the story at the beginning about Bill Hicks when we went because it's still one of my favorite bars in the city.
Oh yeah, we got.
I love honestly. As much as I like, it's fun to go to nightclubs and mainstream bars. I really like dive bars. The older and grungier it is, like the best. Actually, one of my favorite bars that I've ever been to was the epitome of a dive, and it was in like Georgetown, Malaysia. We might have talked about it before, but it's like I'm talking like skeleton heads on the wall. Like, you look like a voodoo bar almost, but it was like so old, and it's like 80-year-old lady in the front singing. Anyways, like that place, I'll never forget it. But Bill Hicks, and the sense of like community and how cool this is. I never finished this. The first time me and Mark went, we're sitting there, and they serve drinks in like plastic Dixie cups.
Yeah, it was no frills. So he was like President's Choice mix, so it's like PC Cola or something. Yeah. He had 4 types of bar
like
rails.
Free
So
ball in it too.
So
it's not like here's 2 ounces. Here's like here's like 6 ounces in a splash of Coke.
Yeah, you had like 1 gin, 1 vodka, 1 whiskey, 1 whatever. Yeah. And like if you asked for if he poured you a shot, because he was sometimes generous with the Jaeger or whatever, he'd do it in those those cups that come out of the side of the water cooler.
Yeah.
He'd serve it
Dixie
to you like
cup.
the paper. No, it was a paper cup.
Yeah, paper cone ones.
They're Dixie. Dixie makes paper ones.
Okay,
no, the
sure.
cones. No,
Yeah,
so
the cone ones.
Yes,
Yeah,
I remember
so
that.
So he'd pour the
and
shot.
He'd hold like 5 in a hand, and he would do it with us.
It was actually like a perfect setup.
Yeah.
So and then you just fold them up and throw them out. But then he served the drinks in red Solo cups. So it was like no frills, divey can get.
Because there's nothing about it, no like pretentiousness. You just go in and have a drink and talk to people.
And like the amazing thing about it is it attracted people from all walks of life. It didn't matter if you drove a Ferrari. Like, you wanted to hang out at Bill
guys.
Hicks.
Guys in suits were there. Guys in ripped jeans. Guys who look like they were homeless. Like everybody.
Yeah.
And people just sit. And the benches were like this. Like, it was just very tight. It's almost like picture like an old the East End. You see the houses there. It was almost like the upstairs of a house. It was very tight.
It was the upstairs. And
probably what it was.
Yeah, and like when we first went there, he would hand out a marker. There was like this gold Sharpie that would float around, and similar to what you guys got going on here, people would just write things on the wall, and like this was his thing in the bar.
And the best part about that, this is where I was going. The first time we went there, why there's a real sense of community in East End. The bartender, if I'm not mistaken, he smoked. So when you want a smoke break, he would go out and be like, hey, like to one of the guys sitting there, like, just watch the bar for me.
Yeah.
He would leave his own bar. Everyone would just hang out. If somebody wanted a drink, they would grab a beer over the counter, put a $5 down on the thing. Like
nobody messed with it.
Nothing.
There was like,
he'd be up for like, we'd come outside, we're like, we gotta go. Like, I think one time we might have left, and he was still up for like 30 minutes. We're like, close. I was like, that's fine. No one's taking anything.
Yeah. Well,
think about that. Where can you say that happens in Toronto? Like, you can't even turn your back.
It's very European. That's like a European thing.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that was cool, like I actually met a really good buddy there, and how we met is like my buddy Nico, Greek, of course, right? That
one's a good night giveaway. Yeah. Even Rick knew that.
I didn't know him. He was at the other end of the bar, and I was there, and I'm talking to Teddy, and Teddy was the bartender. He goes, he's like, "You're Greek, right, Mark?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, Nico, you're Greek, right? He's like, yeah. He's like, okay, you guys come here for a second. And so he like brought us together and introduced us. And like Nico ended up like becoming a really good friend of mine over the past few years. Yeah. So
Is Nico in the Scotch Club?
he was.
Oh.
And then, I guess with work and some other thing, he left. I didn't kick him out,
Okay.
you know.
So he's still in the good books.
But you know,
Rick's itchy. Rick's trying to wait till someone gets kicked out. Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
What? Hey, Mark, anyone around this month? Anyone missed 3?
Hey, what day?
Yeah,
Third
yeah.
Friday.
But anyways, I think that's like kind of your point, Rick. I never thought about that. Like it's kind of, we talked about like the sense of community and everything. And I think that's really cool. Listen, I'm sure there's other neighbors that have this too. Like you just walk around the city, you can notice in other pockets.
I think you find it anywhere. Like that's
sure.
the thing. Like, and you live in a neighborhood, but you have to like live in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so it's like that's why I like.
Well, you used
walking.
to work in the East. Like you worked everything in the East.
Yeah. But like that's why I like walking and it just even just
Big walker.
Yeah, big walker. You just set a point on the map. You're like, hey, I want to check out what's going on in Parkdale. And like the cool thing is that neighborhoods are always changing. So what was there a couple years ago is not there anymore. And so that's like anyone who kind of spent any time in Leslieville and ever went to Bill Hicks, you're so fond of those memories because the window that place was actually open for, it was maybe open for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And there were some people that wanted to go there, never had a chance to go there. And it was just, you have these great memories. And that's why I think you got to go out. And I'm not only just an East End guy. As much as I love where I live, I love to check out other neighborhoods and see what's going on.
Yeah.
And because that window, like for all of these places, that window's always closing.
True. For like small restaurants, again, like we don't go down this path too. I know you've talked about it, Rick. Unfortunate now, it's probably closed for a lot more than we'd had the chance to. So, again, very unpredictable circumstances, but that just kind of makes you also appreciate more what kind of an amazing city we live in, how diverse each neighborhood is, how different, because every neighborhood is really different. A lot of similarities, but like even Ossington had that feel. It still does, but 10 years ago was even more like that. You'd walk into like Baby Huey's and it was like a house. I remember walking the first time. It was like a girl behind a beer bin handing out like tall boys. And I was like, this is a bar in Toronto?
Yeah.
It was so foreign to me. And it just really makes you appreciate, hopefully things can get back to somewhat of a normal soon. Like, it makes you really want to just go and explore the city more because we live in a great city that has a lot going on.
One of the best cities in the world.
Yeah. Honestly, truly. One of the best cities that
I love
it. Better with the transit, but we won't fault you, Toronto.
I haven't traveled as much as I think you guys might have, but I don't think I want to live anywhere else. And even as I think about, maybe one day having a family and all of that, I think it'd be sick to raise my kids in the city if I can afford to do it.
For sure.
That's what I'm saying right now. Like, check me up in a few years when.
But it's interesting too. Like I've had that talk. My parents, they grew up like kind of in the suburbs, right? And they say like you need like that.
You need space for your family.
Have
a garden, grow some tomatoes.
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly. But look at these big cities, man. People like they make do with it. Like Toronto's got a lot of parks and all that stuff. I mean, it's definitely possible. Great city.
I love it.
Cool, but anyways,
one thing I did want to mention is this, in my opinion, has been one of the most free-flowing conversations we've had on this pod.
100%. I knew Mark.
I
told you.
Me and George even talked about it. He's like, yeah, we can start with this. But I was like, yeah.
I said to him, there's literally no structure for this conversation.
No structure.
I was literally so
worried.
worried.
And if you think about
Mark,
it,
man,
this episode had the most amount of structure with having zero of it.
Everything
connected perfectly, and we came full circle to talk about the theme of community.
I'm glad that you guys feel that because I was so nervous. You guys have had some pretty big hitters on here, and I was like, "Is this the same seat that Shaw Claire sat in?"
No,
he was on my couch.
Okay,
he was on the
all right.
He was in the condo, but
because Shaw Claire he's a tough act to follow. I'm not. So I was really worried. Like what are they going to ask? What can I say? Like, how am I going to be cool,
But that's the thing. You don't have, like, that's, and the first time we were scheduled this, you even joked, like, I don't know what I want to talk about. I was like, and I honestly will say this. I'm not saying because you're in front of me. I've said this I'll say this to your face. You know this. When I sit down with you and talk, like, we actually our conversation just goes in the randomest ways every time. Like,
I sometimes need to, like, pull you back a little bit because George does his thing where he's
that brings it back. That ties it full circle to the beginning when I was off air, turning the camera on, and I said, I want to explain something to you guys, a theory that I have. You know how I always say, okay, let me ask this question first, because you just made that point. You know how I always say I like narrative and like the narrative of flow? I realized the other day I am the most non-narrative person. Because to your point, narrative is the arc of a story, and it follows a narrative. Do I ever tell a story in like one direction?
No, you never complete. I don't think you ever complete a story.
No, it goes like I go here, then I go back. Oh, by the way, this. A lot of times I do that. Anyways, I don't have to share that because we talked about it right before the camera turned on.
Telling a story, you're just going in circles.
Yeah. Because I just like my mind is going like a pinball machine. But anyways, that's funny you just brought that up that I do that because that was the first thing I was going to say off air, and I got that's what I was going to bring up, and I got cut off.
I love it.
This is full circle.
Yeah.
Right to the beginning.
No, but you're probably the second or third person that really says like, oh, what are we going to talk about? I don't know. And that's the best part about this is it's not an interview. And we've said this to so many people like, oh, send us the questions ahead. It's like, no, we don't. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about that. But there's no set questions.
Yeah.
If you're an Olympian, I'm going to ask you what it's like to win a medal. Yeah, of course I'm going to ask that. But it's not like, okay, and we used to do this. Remember Eric Radford at the beginning? It was very structured, like, took us through his whole career. Now it's like, you know, we ask random questions.
We actually have a very non-narrative podcast.
Yeah.
See where the conversation goes.
This is the best example because it was such a free-flowing conversation, yet it had so much structure, unintentionally.
It's cool.
So George, good job. And
Mark, I mean, good job. That was Mark. Mark killed it.
All three of us.
Thank you for having me.
No, honestly, man, like that's why it's just fun to talk about. Again, like I honestly, I've said this to you, like you're just to sit down and talk with you the way, and we didn't even get rid of the weeds. This is kind of like an introduction to Mark, but like
we'll do a part 2.
Yeah, for
in
sure,
the
man, because these are fun. There's a lot to talk about. You made a comment about how you've traveled, but I would actually counter that you've probably. Like we've all lived downtown, but like me and Ricky, we joke, but it's true. We're more like West End. We've always been in that area.
I don't joke. I am a West Ender.
Yeah, Rick's like, I won't go past university.
We got to get you out past past the Don River, man.
But you've seen a lot of Toronto. Like you have seen a lot of Toronto, and we talk. You know, we go for dinners and talk. Like you have some of your stories are funny and like what?
Continue. I was
gonna say like that's the thing. You know, but the first time you're gonna come on, like what are we gonna talk about? We literally talk about the city we live in, the communities we live in. We've never really talked about that, and I think that was really interesting. And a lot of people can relate because a lot of people like live all over the city, and they're we never really talk about the appreciation you have for neighborhood and feel and community, as we said. So, anyways, man, that was a lot of fun.
What we'll do next time we get you on, we're gonna each pick up 2 dishes from different parts of the city. So you do East End. I'll do West End, you do North End or something.
I was in the North End. Now we're getting crazy. No, you know what we'll do?
We'll each pick a couple different like local tiny mom and pop shops that you love.
Yeah.
Well, we can't eat on air.
No, but we can talk about the bounty in front of us.
We should also bring.
Technically, we can eat on air.
No, because you can't chew it.
No, we just move it while you guys talk.
It's not a great thing.
Well, you guys work out the mechanics on that.
We'll do Scotch. We'll do Scotch as well. We'll coast.
By then, I'm going to be in the Scotch club. So.
Yeah. There we go. Ricky's going to give us a tutorial on everything.
All his notes. You know what though? But to the point, like you don't know anything about Scotch, but like a lot of things too. Joining the club is what gets exposed you to it, right?
It's really like we were talking about, like these niche interests, right?
Frog jumping,
like make a club for frog jumping, and I think it's or knitting or whatever else you're into. Book but club, it's like
podcasting.
I think you need to be intentional about hanging out with people. And one of the things that I kind of try to make sure I do all the time, if I think about someone, like someone just pops into my mind for some reason, I always make an effort, or at least I try to text them or call them when I think about them. Because I think we all do that. We say, oh, yeah, I haven't spoken to so-and-so in a while. And then you kind of, okay, well, yeah, I'll give them a call tonight. And then you don't do it. So it's like, that's one of the things that I try to do. If I think about someone, I text them and say, hey, how's it going? Or, hey, what's up? And it's not that like we're going to get into a big conversation, or maybe we won't end up being able to get together and hang out and catch up properly. But at least you know that I'm still alive, and I know that you're still alive, and I was thinking about you, and I hope you're doing well. So, talk about vibes, take that vibe,
I like that.
I think that's perfect to start wrapping up on.
Speaking of being alive, he usually calls like, hey, you still alive? I don't know. You're all over the world. Where are you these days? Yeah, I think a lot of times he calls like, hey, you still alive? Just checking in on you. Anyways, that was great, man. I really, really enjoyed this. Considering I was ready to fall asleep before we started this, I am like,
man, it was such a
but this is
such a fun conversation.
Always fun catching up with you.
Mark, appreciate you coming on. Obviously,
thank you very much for having me.
You both agree
and
on
I really
that.
think. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say
you cut off my final wrap up.
You know what? You guys are like a married couple that's been
we catch each other pretty good.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say sorry before we start that. I honestly think you should consider starting a podcast. You're very good. You have a good flow with your dialogue.
You know what?
Short little clips.
I don't like the sound of my voice. I don't think a lot of people do.
mine.
But
I like mine.
But it's just like to record and edit that. I need a producer. I think is what I need. You know? Yeah.
Whoa! Hey.
See?
No,
you see?
You can't. You didn't fact check him correctly. That was your test. You gotta stay with us.
failed.
We need all the help we can get over here.
Um,
Sorry, Rick. You continue your thought
but I was
there.
gonna say, you ruined it, George. But anyways,
I'm really sorry. Man.
that's okay.
Kind of excited.
No, we're definitely gonna get you on in the future because this was such a fun conversation. But we've got 2 questions we ask every single guest.
Okay, I like this.
So
this.
you don't
Some
know them
structure. No.
No, what's this?
Man, no, we were. This is nice. In this last episode.
This is
like
episode 80.
80th. Well, you're 80th. That's a pretty big deal. Not one person out of all 80 episodes knew we asked questions.
No,
at the
there's
end.
been a handful.
Okay.
Nicole knew, Nicole knew.
I think our moms maybe knew.
Our moms knew. John.
But very few people
John.
listen all the way to the end. Mind you, this is this is one of our longer ones. Which
I can go all night, boys.
Honestly, we probably could have got. We probably could keep this going. We'll save the crazy stuff for part 2. Go ahead,
Part
Rick.
2. If there was a movie about your life, who would you want to star as you? Could be anyone from any point in time.
Oh, this is funny. So if we're going for like the closest facsimile, let's say, I've been told that I look like Steve-O from Jackass, or Casey Affleck. So probably one of those 2 dudes.
Casey Affleck would be a sick one too.
Yeah, he's
He
the
was crazy.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah.
You sent
I
that
mean-
clip in the group today. You sent that clip in the group.
I
Of
was actually
Steve-O.
watching Steve-O's podcast or Mike Tyson's podcast. They were
Mike
Steve-O
Tyson,
on.
yeah.
He's crazy.
Yeah. So
That's
maybe
a good answer. We never had either of those.
maybe for acting chops, I'd go with Casey Affleck. But
Depends if it was a serious.
you know
movie,
what?
Casey, if it
Actually,
was a
probably
comedian.
Steve-O.
Yeah,
Probably
actor.
Steve-O. Yeah.
I like it.
The last question: if you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Well, that's a good one. One
We
piece
always-
of advice to my younger
We always
self.
do that. We're like, meh, that was a good one.
Yeah, like I think it took me a little bit of time, as I think it does everyone, to like to come into yourself and to like really appreciate who you are as a person. And like I'm pretty satisfied with the person I am today, and I wish I knew everything I knew today, like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago. So I think just be content with who you are right now. There are things in your nature that you don't like. We're all wired a different way. And there was this quote, I think from Bruce Lee, maybe it was misattributed to him because I can't find the quote, but he was speaking about like the nature of water, and you cannot change the properties of water or the nature of the way that water works. And he's like, so yourself, like who you are is very much like that, if that makes sense. So you're going to do things a certain way, and you're going to learn about things a certain way, and that's very, very unique to you. So your path through life is going to be abundantly different from everybody else's, and you just need to understand what your nature is, and steer yourself away from things that might not be good for you, if depending on what way your nature leads you. But you just need to absorb and I guess just own whatever your nature is, and just be you. And if you do that at every single I guess point in your life, you never have to worry about being an imposter. You always do what's kind of what's in you to do, if that makes sense.
That does make
Loved
sense.
it.
That's
I got
really
that
good.
100%,
That's really good
yeah.
advice, man. I like that a lot.
Love it. Mark, honestly, great conversation. Loved having you on. If people want to find out more about you, the Scotch Club, the Ghost Peppers, Pepper X, the fruits, where can they go?
So I'm on Instagram,
Low-key guy.
but I'm so low key. Yeah, I don't even. If somebody wants to like get in touch with me, maybe like ask George for my number or something.
Yeah. You want to do
We'll do email. Yeah, anybody wants to get in touch with Mark,
It's
just hit
actually
us.
funny you say
hit
that.
us up.
Jordan at the beginning was like, "Does this guy have any Instagram?" I was like, I don't have. I might deactivate it, so I couldn't remember your Instagram.
Yeah.
That's how
I
low
got
key
it,
Mark
I
is.
got it. I
Yeah.
have it. We follow each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
So if you want to find them, just hit us. Hit me or George. We'll put you in touch. If you want to join the Scotch Club, if you want to try the hot peppers, you just want to have a fun conversation, we'll put you in touch.
Or if you need tips on the East End, where to go? Like we listed a bunch here, but I know Mark knows a few more hidden gems.
Yeah,
back
yeah.
there.
I'm sorry to any business in the East End that I frequent that I haven't shouted out specifically.
We shouted out a bunch.
You really
of them.
ruined it because next time you came on, you know how much sponsorship dollars we could have got? Like we gave like 90%
for
away.
free.
It's okay. The next episode,
Next
they're
one.
gonna see the value.
Big sponsors. But guys,
Guys.
if you made it this far, subscribe, leave us a review, follow us, all that fun stuff. We really appreciate it. Also, check out the newest edition of Kind magazine dropping at your local dispensary. Your pals might be in it.
No, we are in it.
We're in it, for sure. We've got
Pick
a
up
nice
Kind magazine Friday,
December 4th.
Friday,
Wait,
December 4th.
question. Where do we find Kind magazine?
You got to walk into your local dispensary, any dispensary in the city,
Or online.
or online.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, that's it.
I'm literally gonna walk into everyone, just take all their magazines, and I'm gonna take them all over
They're
the city,
sending
and
us
then
a bunch, yeah.
and then go distribute them all over.
George
But
gonna be signing them on the corner of
I'm gonna be
King and-
outside of the dispensary, like, oh wow, look at this article. Look, who are these guys? Anyways, guys.
All right, that's it. Signing off, guys. Cheers.
Later.